trust you or anyone ever again.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I think I know what this is. You see, Stan, as you get older, things that you used to like start looking and sounding like shit. And things that seemed shitty as a child don't seem as shitty. With you, somehow the wires have gotten crossed and everything looks and sounds like shit to you. It's a condition called being a cynical asshole.
Oh no.
Yes. And there's no known cure, I'm afraid. Everything just seems shitty and everyone starts to seem shitty and everything they say...
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
Yes, Mr. Sherman, everything stinks.
All we are is dust in the wind, dude. Dust. Wind. Dude.
I hope I can help. Necromancy may be legal in Cyrodiil, but few will openly admit to practicing it now that the Mages Guild has banned it. Farewell.
May you rest in peace.
I'm too old for this shit.
Kids with your loud music and your Dan Fogelberg, your Zima, hula hoops, and Pac-Man video games. Don't you see? People today have attention spans that can only be measured in nanoseconds.
Please, Pittsburgh! Nothing to see here, please!
I've kind of lost control of Star Wars, so it's going off in a different path than what I intended. But the first 6 are very much mine and my philosophy.
Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The code of the Sith.
You hate to do it, but at the same time, it's hilarious. Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Sith, number 80. We are getting up there, brother. I am your host, The Fractured Filter, and with me, as always, my buddy, my co-host, my companion in all this nonsense, hater of pineapple on pizza, Jay Hitman. How are you tonight, sir?
I just like to remind everybody that today is still Saturday and Star Wars Theory still contradicts himself. Anybody was wondering.
He seems to have certainly, yes.
I think this dude is off his trolley. Like,
stuck his foot in his own mouth as of late.
Wookiee's already about the pineapple today. Oh, no pineapple today, Wookiee. He must. Are you sick?
No pineapple today. But we already had. We had Fook Norris in there. Hello, sir. Wookiee, as always, gracing us with his furry presence.
Get this walking carpet out of my way.
And Chris, how are you doing, sir? He says, "Hello, ding dongs." But yes, it's certainly been interesting, and I can say today has also been interesting on X, Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it nowadays.
Twitter woke up to just
nonsense.
I don't know what it is. Like, everybody has lost their mind today.
I don't know if there's a full moon out or what's going on, but there definitely
we have Neotus over here has the audacity to justify Qui-Gon's death and justifying Sabine's cigarette lighter injury. And then has the audacity to try to quote George. Then luckily, I don't know if I know I'd posted a tweet, but like luckily OG, and I don't think her intention was
I shared one of her because
and
she posted one of Star Wars Theory's own
video. Alora comes in clutch as always. I don't know if she's listening to the show, but like comes in as clutch as always, and then basically tells him
it's an abusive dad cigar burn. That's what I was trying to remember.
She's basically tells him to take his seat, eats his lunch, and then takes his lunch money and uses his own video against him. Like, how? What do you think this dude's like feeling right now? Like, he has the audacity to like, what did he exactly claim? He said something about talent, and then in one video he's talking about like talent. You gotta like work at it and be good at it, and then the other video he's talking about he's like taking a freaking Super Saiyan approach, like, oh yeah, I think I'd go like a level 9 and surpass. Like, what? I'm sorry, what scale are you going off of?
Power scale. OG Star Wars in her calf chat on Thursday, she basically broke all that shit down, and
I gotta start waking up and doing her joining calf chat because I'm always asleep. But I just thought it was great that she used his own video against him.
That was hilarious.
Then I was going through his video and then I was watching hers. I was like, wait a minute, like, did this dude just contradict himself? And I think he posted, or OG had liked it, but said basically something to the effect of like, yeah, he just did, or it would appear so.
In spectacular fashion, yeah.
I just you know when we review, like when we watch videos or we watch shows and you and I, we sit here and we're like, did they really just pull that? Did they really just say that? And then we sit here and we wonder, like, how in the world did they just justify whatever it might be, right? So I've had my issues with Star Wars Theory, and like I said, like, I don't know the dude personally. Maybe he's a great chap. I don't know, but my issue that I'm starting to now have with this guy, I care less that he's, millionaire, whatever. But my problem is like,
you're just a clout chaser, just trying to cause some shit.
He's contradicting himself. It's like, you sit there, like, don't toe the line. Like, if you choose to defend what you want to defend, but don't try to defend both, because there is no defending both. You cannot defend George.
Here, shall we set a bit of context for this then?
Please, yes, I think that would be probably better.
All right, so
before my vein
here's
pops
where
out
it's
of
gonna
my throat.
where it first starts out with Theory here. So let me play this little video of his.
George had said that everyone in the Star Wars galaxy is Force sensitive.
Everyone has the Force in them. Everyone.
And even like OG pointed out, all he's saying is they have the Force in them, which, as Obi-Wan went over, the Force resides in us, binds the galaxy together, yada yada yada.
There's two sides to the Force: the dark side, which is selfishness, and the light side, which is compassion.
George said in the Star Wars archives with Paul Duncan, he said, it's like learning karate. Everyone can learn karate. It just depends on skill, how much you practice, how much you train, and of course, talent. Anakin, for example, extremely talented, and he trained not as much as, let's say, Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he was on par with Obi-Wan, if anything, more powerful. Nick Gillard came up with a power system.
Pause this really quick, because I don't know if it's in this video, but then this turkey then has the audacity to further go and say that Obi-Wan was a trash Jedi. So essentially, he said he was trash. He was the weakest of the Jedi.
Well, it's this powers. It's this basically like Dragon Ball, like you said, Dragon Ball Z style power scaling suddenly. And as I understand it, like, that was basically kind of unofficial, anyways. Like, it was not canon or anything like that.
He's gonna say it's almost unofficial. It's almost as unofficial as the EU. So why use that scale? And who came up with a scale? It's a subjective scale. Did George come
well,
up
that's
with
even
it?
more so. It's like the EU, you have to decanonize, which means it was canon at one point. So, but
you
otherwise,
can't
like
decanonize something that if it wasn't canon to begin with.
Yeah.
7. Once Anakin went to the dark
rewind
side,
it just really quick, because this is where I'm trying to make my point. So he said, right there, maybe we'll try it there.
More powerful. Nick Gillard came up with a
Go back a little
talented, and he trained not as much as, let's say, Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he was on par with Obi-Wan, if anything, more powerful. Nick Gillard came up with a power system. Obi-Wan was at a 7. Once Anakin went to the dark side, he jumped a level and passed, and he jumped up to level 9. Is literally
That's 2
just
levels.
verbatim what George has said
1 level, I
years
guess.
and years and years ago. But I know a lot of people are going to have a big problem with it, but it's literally what's been in Star Wars since the original trilogy. George.
Well, and you know, there's a bit of a thing that he's forgetting here, which apparently, and like I jokingly have that was part of what I said, is that he's basically even freaking Star Wars theory here has gotten basically Akira Toriyama levels of forgetfulness of their own work, just like Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni has clearly forgotten his own work, or just chooses to ignore it. But then there's this too.
Personal force and the cosmic force. The personal force is the energy field created by our cells interacting and doing things while we are alive. When we die, we lose our persona and our energy is assimilated into the cosmic force. If we have enough midichlorians in our body, we can have a certain amount of control over our personal force and learn how to use it. Like the Buddhist practice of being able to walk on hot coals. Some people can't because they just don't have as many midichlorians. That's just genetics.
And that's the other key factor right there, is their midichlorian count, how much it is within their system basically to allow communication with the Force to do what they do. And even as OG Star Wars has pointed out, the whole midichlorians actually goes even back to the beginning of everything. He just didn't find the ways to implement it yet. So it's been an interesting with all this nonsense of all this whole back and forth and stuff, all because Sabine taking the lightsaber and stuff like that, and more people surviving lightsaber stabs. It's been a hell of a fun little ride. But I mean, it's
well, now I can't get the dude off my Twitter, dude, because I keep adding at him, and like now.
Well, that's why, because it gets cycled into your system like that.
Now it's like everything he posted just jumps on, but it's like, you know, you have a duty to, like, if you have a following. I guess my biggest issue is that you're defending both, and in my mind, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't think you can. And why would you defend anything that Filoni has done? He hasn't done anything good. And yet you're sitting there saying that's subjective.
People write him because I think the Clone Wars is so freaking great, when that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, but he will sit. I guess I just will never. Maybe I just illogical in the sense. I will never understand how you can claim to love the prequels and the original trilogy, and then love everything that Filoni has done. Like I have been a part of his live streams. I have watched him basically go full on shill mode with, you know, there was an episode where like Palpatine came back and whatever it was with Bad Batch. And I know we did a show and I was like, that was probably the highlight of the show. But like this dude's like, you know, going crazy. So it's like, I just don't understand how you can defend George and the original trilogy and that canon, and then come in and basically say, I trust Dave, when Dave has done everything to deconstruct what George has done. It's not up for debate. It's true.
2 + 2 equals balance.
You want an example? Look at the characters he's created. They are rips off of George. Now, I guess, or maybe not necessarily George, but the EU, which George okayed.
Right.
Like we've had this discussion. Everything and anything that happened within the EU, George was privy to. And if he disagreed, he gave his 2
made his notes, and
but you sit there from your
authors that have talked about this. Yeah,
you sit there from your palace making your money, and you're deceiving people. You're giving them false information. And I love the fact that when you get called out, and maybe because you have 3.3 million followers on YouTube, and I don't know what he has on Twitter, but maybe you just miss it. But I love the fact that when you get called out, and this is why I did my post yesterday. This wasn't to fluff Tim, his ego, or Laura's ego. It has nothing to do with fluffing anybody's ego. I did that post yesterday because like it's accurate. Anything and everything that Tim says, he backs up his knowledge and information via cited. He will go, like, you know what I'm trying to say. They will cite their sources.
All their sources and stuff like
are
that.
cited.
Like, Laura
And
has
it's
all of the
legit
books that she
information.
needs and always brings it up during like things
Laura,
like it is the calf chat and stuff like that.
I've said this before. I would love to get Laura on the show because I would love to just figure out, like, she has such a wealth of knowledge. Like, she has to have been studying Star Wars longer than you and I have probably been. I mean, I've been a lover of Star Wars since I was a kid. You and I both, right? But like, she has devoted her time to studying the Star Wars and backing the information up. It's like objective truth because it came from George himself, and I just love the fact that she calls him out and nothing, silence. Maybe he's just because in Canada people are all I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't care. He doesn't want to engage. I don't know. But you get called out, and there's no follow-up video or anything. Like if I made a comment on this show and it was wrong, and you later called me out or somebody called me out for it, I'd be like, well, thank you for calling me out. Because I never want to speak stupid. I never want to misspeak, and I understand that I'm not as knowledgeable as Tim and Alora, right? But if I get called out, like, one, I want to be called out if I say anything stupid because I don't want to sound stupid, especially if we have a podcast where we're just talking, right? But like, we also, for me at least, and I think we're probably on the same page here, like, we want to be accurate with what we say. In most,
that's why I'm generally
situations.
pretty careful about what I do try and say and stuff like that, unless I know
for sure.
Absolutely.
And even if I'm unhesitant, I'll always say, I'll need to check, or I'll have to reach out to OG or Tim. Like, I always try to do that, or I'll look into it. But I don't know why the dude's bothering me so much lately. It's like
it really got under your skin.
Yeah, because you just sit there and you're just catering to your fan base. But what you're saying is not accurate. You might think it's accurate I guess there's a fence between us, and from where he's sitting, he thinks it's accurate. And I guess relativism is at play here, even though relativism is not a really good way to define truth, because that's what relativism is, right? Like, your truth is your truth. It doesn't matter if I tell you that grass is green because of whatever chloroform, whatever it is, chlorophyll, or whatever it is. I didn't study. I missed that part in school. But if I tell you the grass is green, and you're like, well, no, it's not. It's blue. But I'm like, no, it's green. I don't believe you. I refuse to believe your truth because I think it's blue, right? So it's just, but it just keeps coming, right? Like, I let, like, the post about Qui-Gon and all Reva and all that stuff, that got under my skin. But then this video, it's a continuation of, like, what are you doing, guy? And where are you getting your information
Just more
from?
and more of
if
it.
you want to stand there with Dave and hold his hand and pledge your loyalty and fealty to Dave, then get on camera and do it. Because that's what you're essentially, like, that's my perception. Like, because you said, well, I trust Dave. Why trust? Like, why would you trust him? It's like you were an alcoholic and you stopped, and you're going to put your trust in an alcoholic, like your friend who's an alcoholic, to make sure you don't drink. Like, what? It's probably a bad example, but anyways.
I mean, engagement, it's certainly now the bigger thing on
Well,
X.
Wookiee's true. What's the saying? All PR is good PR?
Yeah, basically. And I mean, they've also been talking in the chat. His channel, the whole Star Wars theory, that's what it's all built on. I mean, the funny thing is, like, Yeah, it's all
But
built
it's
on
not
Star
even
Wars.
his
I get that.
theory.
And he does know, he does seem to know the lore of what he's willing to admit, but he's also willing to kind of bend it to fit whatever narrative he needs to fit. But the thing is that it's all theory. Like his channel's based on theories. He could just be focusing on just putting together the stories that he thinks he can put together, putting out different random ass theories that works in what people are interested in coming and viewing. I mean, it's kind of the funny thing. Like one guy, Masako X, who, if anybody knows of like Dragon Ball Z Abridged, he did the voice for Goku in that, and then he started doing a bunch of like what ifs, bunch of theories, and he knows Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z very thoroughly, and he did come up with a lot of creative stories and stuff like that, and that's what he just kind of built his own extra channel, is just doing like a lot of that extra stuff. And it's not so much of like the kind of dick writing that we really kind of see with the Star Wars end, but you know, he could just kind of focus on just maybe doing those stories that he maybe wants to do, the fan films and stuff like that. He doesn't necessarily always have to be a commentator on the current news and events, but I mean, I guess that's also kind of the trap of all this when you're involved in such a IP. Yeah, you kind of have the people, the fans want to hear what you have to say about current goings on. So he fence rode too long. He fence rode too long without having a strong stance one way or another, and that's the problem when you do that.
Yeah, but you can see the confliction here though, because he has claimed and said that he's a lover of the OT and the prequels, and has sat there and defended George, right? Like I've heard him say this. This is not. I'm not pulling this out of a hat. Like I've heard him say this, right? Like defending George, but then to say that he, I got distracted by Wookiee.
It's okay.
And then to defend and just, I don't know, man. I mean, teach his own. Like what you want to like, I guess. But like, I will never understand how you can sit there and be a fan.
Oh no,
of
I'll
the
be
EU.
that jerk in a store that'll go up to a random fan, and if I see they have Ahsoka in their handbasket, I will make fun of them, and I will say Ahsoka sucks.
Yeah.
You are not allowed to like what you want to like.
Well, it's very
I'm
hard
just
for me
messing
to.
around. It has
No,
something to do with
I
what
don't
you were
get
sharing
it. I don't get it, and I think that's the crux of all this is like you have these people are giving you money because they want, like, whether they like you or they are coming to you because they want to be informed, right? Of everything Star Wars. And if you claim to be an OT expert or a prequel expert or a George expert, whatever it is, like, people are going to come to you. So you're going to take their money. You know,
versus female after all.
I don't know, man.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off there.
No, you're taking all this money in, and you're misleading people when you sit there and say this is why Qui-Gon died, and it is what it is, and this is why he died, but it's okay that Sabine survived. Right? You're now defending the fact that lightsabers are meaningless, and it's just not logical.
You're feeding the beast.
It's the dumbest thing ever. It is literally utter dual dishness to sit there and say Qui-Gon died because of this, because he got impaled, but Sabine also got impaled, but she lived because she got help. She got medical help. They were freaking
in a timely manner.
They were in the palace. Are you going to sit there and tell me there wasn't any medical droids or medical room in the palace on Theed? You're going to sit there and tell me because Ahsoka was 5 minutes away or was right there, and Obi-Wan was right there. Well, he was
right there in the Theed palace. He
was already stabbed, and he's been there for minutes. Well, you just made the claim that he used the Force for 20 minutes. So it's illogical.
Yeah, and then somebody who has zero Force sensitivity is somehow able to
survive
versus
the Master. Like now I'm pissed. Now I'm mad. Like it doesn't like it's just stupid. Well, boiled his lungs and hit his spine. Like, okay, with that logic theory, if the lightsaber pierced Qui-Gon through the upper body and it boiled his lungs and did whatever to his spine that you said that it did, Sabine was also stabbed in the same region. You said liver. If there's a boiling effect with one, would there not be a boiling effect with the other? And don't sit there and say, well, he was stabbed 20 plus minutes. Like, no. If I put a boiling rod into you, Fractured, would you survive? With or without the Force?
I'd be pretty effed.
You probably not have a very good day, right? So it's like lightsaber. It's like the lightsaber is devastating for one person, right? One wound, but it's not devastating for another. It's not as fatal for another wound. And like I said, I will sit here and tell you that again. I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to lightsaber dueling. I know Alora has said that they can be fatal, and some there's certain moves and whatever where they can be fatal. I think I even asked her the question, right? That they both were flipping impaled. And what's even more of a joke is the simple fact that they moved the wound.
Yeah.
On her.
Beneath her breast.
How does it go from her breast to her hip bone?
It's a magic wound instead of like the magic bullet. It's the magic wound. Well, like Crimson Raptor here says, not to mention the traumatic shock your body would likely go into.
Sorry, I had to grab a drink because I'm just been talking.
You're just so into it.
No, but it's
hey,
this is where you say like, all right, let's move on, get in your cage. Like it's just how can it's just
no, I'll let you keep going, man.
It's just irritating.
I get you.
And then it's it's funny because who created? I don't know who created Sabine. I'm going to take a wild guess and say maybe Dave created this character, and that's why he's justifying the fact that she survived.
There, like Chris says, there is the case also of medical technology, and yes, how soon can you get a wounded individual to medical attention? I mean, that's something that they left very. That was something that was left very ambiguous by the end of Ahsoka. That episode was like Ahsoka was still kind of a ways out before she really was close enough, and
okay,
and then even like Sabine was also kind of exacerbating the wound, considering she's still flailing around trying to swing a lightsaber. So she was not making things any better for herself while she was still right there suffering a wound. At least Qui-Gon took the hit and then was immediately collapsed on the ground, laying there. So, it's kind of funny how that works out. No, she was still a ways out before she was landing. She was still a ways out because then Shin noticed that that ship was coming, and then that's when she's like, okay, we got to bounce and head out. So, she was on the way. Yes, I don't deny that, but she was still like a little ways out from that.
What's even more stupid about this whole thing is the simple fact that like Qui-Gon was a Jedi Master. He sit there and say, "Oh, he used the Force to survive for 20 minutes," but Sabine survived, but was not a master of the Force. Can't even move a cup, right? So again, if anybody could have survived a wound like that, you would think it would be a Jedi Master. My goodness, Anakin survived. And I take the whole stupid power skill out because I don't know who created that skill, and as far as I'm concerned, until I can research it, doesn't exist, right? But Anakin was about -2 inches from swimming in the lava, right? Burned to burnt ends, and ended up surviving, and obviously the medical capsule. So again, he didn't get he wasn't impaled, but he got 3 limbs cut off, and he was
3 limbs cut off. He was somebody that was the quote unquote chosen one, and he had a high midichlorian count. He was already a Sith. He was on the usage of the Sith. We know, yes, dark side, anger, all that can sustain.
He survived. But look at the toll it took on his body.
Yeah,
his body took a toll.
Iron lung for the rest of his life.
you and I are I think are similar age. You remember the cigarette lighters in the car that you would push them in, they pop out.
I burnt myself a few times on those stupid things.
Literally, like it's just
playing around as a dumbass kid.
It's just so stupid to like, and like shame on the dude to sit there and defend it.
Here's the thing, as Chris is saying, if Sabine was saved in time, she should have been out of action for much longer than a day. Well, and if she was, this is the thing, if she was out for much longer than the day that they basically showed us, because that's all we got out of this, that she was just laying there in that bed for a freaking day. That was it. And even then, she was still kind of up mobile and still doing whatever. If she was actually bedridden or in the back of the tank, we got progression of time, there would be no problem. Yes, it'd still be a little like, oh, great, another person survived the freaking lightsaber wound. But if there had actually been a decent progression of time where she was in the back of the tank and everything like that, and then, yes, having to kind of be bedridden for a little bit, then there wouldn't be such a problem of what we're having. But the fact of the matter is that didn't happen. They didn't actually take that care of that time, and she was just boom up and at him.
There's no scar, there's no wincing, there's like she's basically, it looks like she just had a tickle fight, pillow fight.
Hail, Jason. Ecstatic, how's it going? Asking, why are you gay?
Static's back on Twitter.
He got released from Twitter jail.
So
he's
pumped
back
for you, Static. I saw you, brother. I saw you post the other day. I was like, I wonder. I thought you started.
How's it going, Bradley? Back to the hell of a drug. Would have been nice if it was mentioned.
But here's
exactly. Just even a little something.
I can't even believe I'm doing this. But freaking Mando, or not Mando, Boba went head to head with Chrysanthemum
replacement at best,
and was freaking in his back to bed for.
Every episode, he was in his back to bed.
Yeah, but he got a fight with a Wookiee. It was in that thing for 4 days and looked like he just got off a 48-hour bender. But Sabine gets stabbed and it's just like fine.
I know. No, it was.
Give me the link to StreamYard. I'm going to DM Star Wars Theory right now. We're going to settle this.
You can probably grab it. You should have permission to grab the invite.
Grab it. Get him on the show. Be like, just. So I don't know the guy personally. Maybe he's a cool dude, but when it comes to Star Wars, like, I question anybody who defends, who thinks Qui-Gon, like anybody who tries to justify these three individuals, maybe the exception of Reva, surviving a lightsaber.
Well, Reva was especially egregious. She survived as a freaking kid during the Purge, during Order 66, which just goes to show how freaking worthless Order 66 was as well.
I'd love to get security footage of Anakin. Like, I wish George would have done that, honestly. Just showed Anakin just chopping all the kids up so we could see how brutal it was, and then further compare it to what he did to Reva in that scene.
Just for the more evidence.
I would probably go so far as to say that he probably whacked them all pretty good, the kids. To where they, probably no chance of surviving.
I don't believe Star Wars Theory gave an exception to Reva, but everybody does. They keep saying they always seem to forget. This is a funny thing. They always seem to forget that Reva was also stabbed as a child. All they focus on is when she was stabbed as an adult by Vader. And they were like, oh, because she was dark side, she used her anger and stuff like that to keep herself going.
She wasn't
ignoring the fact she was stabbed as a kid.
She wasn't a Sith, and that's the only person that he had a problem with. So he's fine with the Inquisitor surviving. He's fine with Sabine surviving.
Extra stomachs and stuff.
Both got stabbed one time, but yet he's okay. He's not okay, or he's okay with Reva getting stabbed twice. Well, that's just stupid.
Like it is. Thank you, Dave Filoni. You had to resurrect fucking Darth Maul, and thereby really just the first nail in the coffin for the whole Just the
But
whole
that's even stupid.
deadliness of lightsabers.
I don't
that was
think
the beginning
George
of the end.
You tell me if I'm wrong, or if anybody's in the chat, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think George ever intended Maul to survive. Did he? Am I wrong?
No, Maul was supposed
because
to
the survival of Maul
ratings
is,
were down and they needed a big bump, so they
survival of Maul is just as atrocious, if not more, just ludicrous. Just Bush League.
Chris, can we talk about how the Mandalorians have become a joke? The one group that could challenge Sith and Jedi have become a joke. Oh, believe me, I've brought this up even on Twitter. I've brought up how worthless these fucking Mandalorians are and how they're not real Mandalorians, and they weren't. Thanks to Felony. Felony ruined the Mandalorians during the Clone Wars show. He completely turned them all into a bunch of weird pacifists, and then decides, oh, we'll bring in the Death Watch now. We'll still try and have the warrior side to them. No, it's been nothing but a shit show. They've turned the Mandalorians into a joke. Good God.
I mean, Boba himself stood before Vader. These are the Mandalorians. I heard oh my goodness, I heard another dumb tweet today, or read another dumb tweet about launch myself out my window. Like some dude had the audacity to, something that Tim had responded to is like, actually 50% of the EU books were written by women. And he, again, in classic Tim fashion, cited his sources because this dude said it was all written by white males that are angry.
Yeah,
they tried. Did you see that one?
Oh, I didn't see his tweet, but I mean, that doesn't surprise me none.
And then OG was like, and even more with Karen Travis. People just so stupid when they try to like make an argument, because he basically is like, your argument's crap. He used a more profane word that I'm not going to say because it's a kid's show and I don't cuss, but yeah, he's like, your argument's crap.
Yeah, and well, I mean, yeah, they started to bring in the Mandalorians even for the kind of in that time period and what was going on with them. And then like, yeah, later, even after the Empire and everything. Bradley, Reba stabbed twice. Ha! Fractured actually referring to story events that don't make sense. Kenobi writers were not paid to write a script that made make sense. No, they were not. Oh, don't worry. I understood what you were saying, Bradley. You're good. You're good, brother. I know
What's
what you're
even
saying.
more frustrating is the fact that we've spent 42 minutes of our life, of our show, our valuable time talking about Star Wars theory and how just asinine and
well, like what you said, it drives content, man.
Well, I guess for us, I don't know.
It gains traction, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, hey, it's been great. It's been rolling in. We were spiking at 10 viewers. That was awesome. So hey, you know.
What he needs to do is get a wrap his Ferrari or his Lambo in a picture of Dave Filoni with his cowboy hat.
Damn Kmart cowboy.
I trust Dave.
Your clip saying that now.
I'm literally going to make a t-shirt. I'm going to make a t-shirt and it's literally going to, in quotations, trusting Dave is like trusting a sriracha fart. There's nobody on this planet other than probably myself. I did that one time. This is a shameless plug. I ate sriracha one time and had a fart, and I did, and it was the worst thing in my life. The worst event of my life. Never again will I ever trust a sriracha fart.
So, yeah. So you're referring to this tweet of his. Almost 50% of the early EU authors were women: Kathy Tyers, Fonda N. McIntyre, Barbara Hambly, and Hollis Davids. Drop that percentage if you include Brian Daly and L. Neil Smith. Either way, the shit point is proven wrong. A person said, "Wow, I read Shatterpoint years ago, and when you say out loud that say it loud like that, I'm starting to remember that a lot of the EU was written by straight white male sci-fi writers who could not find a problematic thing they didn't like. They kept trying the Empire, the good guys, for fuck's sake. Not really. They were keeping the Empire as the bad guys. So there's only some of the edgy fans that like the Empire and think they're cool.
No, but again, that's just it just proves my point that, like, again, somebody says something that's inaccurate, and then they come back around and basically eviscerate.
Wookiee's not
Bro,
wrong.
Wookiee,
Sriracha
no,
is weak.
not at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're in bed. Tabasco might. I don't know what's worse. I feel like Sriracha's worse than Tabasco.
Yep. Well, Karen Travis was helpful towards the Mandalorians and the culture and stuff like that.
Somebody's
right. Hashtag felony.
Somebody's gonna come out and say, "Well, you don't know if they're women or not. You don't know what they identify.
They
as.
identified as."
That's what they do. Probably. It's like, well, you don't know what they identify as. You know, with all this,
I found a video where Felony said something about the Force that made some sense. Then he had to go F it up. That doesn't surprise me. Chris was saying the Republic was scared of a resurgence of the Mandalorians and invaded the Mandalorian space, placing the new Mandos in charge and chasing the more militant groups out of power. A lot of greatest, yeah, okay, yep. Well, and then Boba Fett and his Mandalorians even caused some shit. So
I plan on going to Disneyland in October. I'm going to try, and I'm specifically going to try something. So it's going to test this. Is why I'm going. I'm going to go and identify as a 2-year-old to see if I can get in. Because if you read their policy, somewhere along the lines is like there's no discrimination against identity and whatnot. So I'm going to go tell them I'm a 2-year-old, and I'm going to hold them accountable to them letting me in for free.
And I just want to go back to one comment back here. So Savage Source, thanks for jumping in, man. Found the channel by when I was playing Jedi Academy, and he was watching. You remember the Jedi re-edited that we were watching early on when we first started this?
Yeah.
He was watching it and just happened to get recommended. The channel got recommended, and I was playing Jedi Academy, and boom, he found his way over. So I think that was really cool. And
let's go. So pumped.
He subscribed to the channel and everything, which is really cool. And he said George Lucas really didn't believe that Kyle Katarn could have been a way better protagonist for the remainder of the new trilogy, that Disney really messed up. Well, and Kyle I think was fine within his own space. He didn't need to have a trilogy he had his games, and then the book series that they did for Dark Forces was fantastic. So had amazingly some darkness to it, like his father's head on a pike. Some very dark imagery. So,
or killing what was it, Jaden?
He was Andor before Andor. In my adult storyline.
Who's the kid that you could kill in Jedi Academy? Your friend? Is it Jaden?
Oh, Rosh.
Rosh. Why is it Jaden? Rosh.
Well, you're Jaden. You're Jaden.
Yes, you're Jaden. You kill
Rosh is the one that you can kill or not.
Absolutely. 1000%.
Which I don't see the point of. Honestly, he's not worth going to the dark side over.
I love Raging Rhino to death, but I did have to admonish him at work the other night.
What do you mean?
Somebody came up to me who is a gamer, PC gamer, and was asking me if we're talking about games, and he said, "Have you tried Survivor?" And I said, "No, it's utterly trash. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a negative." I said, "Rotten Tomatoes gave it a -1 out of 10," and he's like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "What?
Yeah, you had
Hold
no
on.
facts to back that up."
Yeah, he's like, "What you mean? What you're talking about the Jedi Survivor?" It's like, "Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a -1 out of 10." He's like, "Rotten Tomatoes is for movies." I was like, "No, it's not. It was on there." and then I told one of the guys that I follow is like us, very, very loyalist to George and EU and whatnot. And I said, he's playing the game. And I said, but he's taking it like a champ because he's just telling people to F off and he's enjoying the game.
Yeah. He was.
But I had to reference, I was like, this guy is such a Star Wars fan that he has what's called a seal of the week. And the guy that I was talking to
on the Uber Disney fans.
Yeah. So I'll put him. Yeah, it was just funny. So I'd admonish him a little bit, but I still love him to death. But play your game, and I hope you lose.
How the EU explained the new Mandos separate from the true Mandos in Death Watch.
Death Watch is just.
Death Watch was its own thing in the EU. So I remember them.
I guess I want to have it.
My first hearing of the Death Watch was thanks to Star Wars Galaxies. Because there was the Death Watch bunker that you had to go into and you had to have a craft. If you wanted to get the Mandalorian armor, you had to bring a crafter with you, and you'd have to have done like some other quest or something like that. But you needed to go in there with a crafter and face off with the Death Watch enemies, and then have your armor be crafted in there. Only if some of the worthy were able to get that armor.
You remember
until they made it really easy.
The episode we did where we were going over like what like the Mandalorian should have been, and like Delta Squad, or there was one group that we were going over. Maybe it wasn't was it Republic Commandos? Was it Delta Squad that it should have been based off of?
Oh, Bad Batch
or Bad Batch. I'm sorry, I said Mando. I apologize. Bad Batch.
Yeah, they were
Delta Squad.
Wasn't Delta, because that was Republic Commando, I believe.
Yeah.
No, there's another clone regiment that they were more based that was based off of, or that
there's so many
Bad Batch was based off of.
Yeah, there's so many different routes they could have taken that, and it could have been good. There's so much stuff that could have been good if they had just followed the blueprint. And it's not as different than what Felony's doing, right? Because he's just straight raid and trash.
Raiding and pillaging, yep.
Right. That's what he's doing. But you could have adapted. You had the blueprint. You could have adapted. You could have gone with it. You could have ran with it. And it could have been good. Kenobi could have been amazing. Kenobi could have followed, like, the show could have, they could have done like Tales of the Jedi. Was it Tales of the Jedi?
It was the like animation style.
No. Well, no, I'm talking about the books that OG was recommending.
The
ones that you bought on Amazon.
Last of the Jedi, young adult novels.
Yes, I'm sorry.
The young adult books.
They could have did something like that. I would have been fine with that. You know why? Because Malorum, the Inquisitor in that book, was absolutely terrifying. And I've told you how I feel about the Inquisitors. Like, I've never been fond of them, but it was because I didn't really, I guess, have a knowledge of them. But like, I think it's Malorum or something like that in the book. I could be wrong.
I know there's an Inquisitor in the book,
right?
So.
I thought Malor. I
forgot his name.
Yeah, but like, this is also the same book where like 14-year-old Boba, or the teenager Boba, is like outsmarting and chasing Obi-Wan. Maybe not 14, but he was a younger Boba. There's a scene where in the book where he's tracking him down or whatnot, but could have done that, man. Would have been fine with it.
Well, like I kept saying, they had all the blueprints to print money, and they just choose these other ways. They just they decanonize the EU and stuff like that, and
or actually
they could do it better.
Bring in the wills if you want, but do it right.
Oh, they can't do shit right.
No, but then what do we get? We got Qui-Gon as a Force ghost when
when he didn't complete the training at all. Yeah, Wookie, this is going to be a point when we get to the review part.
Right.
Oh,
I think we spent enough time on Neotus and his platform.
So, yeah, let's get it. I got a little something.
Palette cleanse, please.
Let's start with a little bit of positivity here. I like
Volition.
Positivity.
Is it the Volition?
No. Actually, it is Night Dive has announced that they are going to be doing Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster has been announced. They haven't released a date yet for the game, but they are going to be basically remastering Dark Forces. So, as previously teased, Night Dive Studios has announced Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster, a new high-definition remaster of the classic bad guy shooter. The new Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster is launching sometime later in 2023, so this year. Cool. For Windows, PC via Steam, Xbox One, Series X, S, Switch, PS4, and PS5. The original game was released on MS-DOS back in February 1995 and later got ported to the original PlayStation in November 1996. And I have already done a playthrough of this. Well, this is a little different, Wookiee. Night Dive Studio has already been doing a lot of these sort of remasters and stuff like that, and they've done a good job. Let me also share this. So on here, like they did do the whole remake of System Shock, which was brilliant. They've re-released and remastered Quake 2, Turok 2, Turok the original. They're working on either or have put out System Shock 2, the Blade Runner. They've made a lot of these older Strife as well, helping make these games also, and especially the original System Shock, making these games, these old games, possible to play on modern systems. Because otherwise, these games could potentially be lost to the sands of time, because it's sometimes hard to emulate the old systems. But also thanks to places like GOG that have also been kind of in partnering of doing that sort of stuff, of making sure, hey, yeah, we'll make old games playable. But they've been also making them also tweaked further to work with modern day controls, which not a lot of GOG games do. Like Shadows of the Empire, sadly, is still working off of the old control systems, which is very, very clunky, very difficult to reconfigure on modern systems. But they've been doing a lot of great work for this sort of stuff. They get a lot of my praise. Rarely do I praise a game company at all, because usually they're all pretty trash. But they've been doing a lot of great work with this sort of stuff, and I do want to then also show off. They have a video teaser as well. And then, like it is, I don't want old games to die. I want old games to still be playable on modern systems. That's the best thing we can do. Bring back those classics. So let me pull up the video really quick too. And like it is, modders. Dang it, dog. As soon as I start streaming, the dog just loves to start being a pain in the ass. No, I think this is pretty cool personally that they've done this. And like it is, you can find the mod project that I played through for a remaster sort of thing. Well, then there's going to be this option that might make things a little bit easier. So here we go. And that's the thing. Like it is with the FMV sequences or the kind of cutscene sequences, these were always a little more difficult for people to kind of go in and mod and try and make look better. So they have the ability to do this, which I think is great. And the other thing that I was thinking, this is like another way for you to introduce people to EU content that maybe otherwise they did not get the opportunity to check out, play, or anything like that, especially with them being remastered. Makes them look a little better, make it a little more appealing to people, because yes, there are a lot of graphic snobs out there. So this makes things just a little bit more appealing to some. Oh, Hang on. It would help if I actually was.
The Briar pistol.
The Emperor has approved your test demonstration, General Moss.
See, there, that was kind of nice to actually kind of. So the original, which yes, you can see it looking considered a little dated and everything like that with the pixelation, and then the remastered, which I would almost say looks a little too kind of, I don't know, overly like painted over with the digital artwork, but still looks good.
General Moss.
And then the redone CG scenes, which is good because those look pretty dated.
Days ago, the Empire attacked one of our secret bases. Intelligence thinks that this may be an act of retaliation for the destruction of the Death Star.
The real Mon Mothma.
Thank you.
There you go.
When is this going to be available?
They haven't released a date yet for when it's going to be announced, other than this year, apparently. But no, I'm gonna be curious to check it out to see what the final product will look like and how good of a job hopefully they do with it. Like I said, I liked what they did with the original System Shock. They made it much more playable on a modern system, considering those old clunky controls. And I mean, like when they just ported the original game and not did the full remake deal, but like a bit of a remaster and stuff like that. And like I said, reconfigured the controls, because like it is with old PC games, like you're sometimes just controlling with the number pad and stuff like that on the keyboard, and the controls were locked. You didn't have the freedom of mouse aim control. So I personally am kind of like, oh, that's cool. I remember hearing about this a little while back, and I'm glad to see that there was truth to it, and that they are going to be putting something out for that. So personally, I'm thinking that's pretty cool. Like I said, it gives people the opportunity to check out a game they might not have otherwise checked out, and especially for them being on consoles and stuff like that. Also, while I'm a bit of a PC snob, I am always glad that when games get ported over, because then it means other people get to check out these older games. Get to check out what was always on our side of the pond, you know?
100%. I never was able to play Dark Forces because I've always been a console guy. So,
and there you go. See, and then also, like it is, the portability of the Nintendo Switch makes that real. No, not just a PC snob. I'm a snob among with other things. But yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
You have to keep everybody updated for when it actually goes.
Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on that. Hang on, I'm waiting for one comment. Crimson Raptor, you shit. No Ray.
Oh, Ray's not in it?
Hard pass.
Oh, I'm not going to play if Ray's not in it.
Oh, you get to see the real origin of the capturing of the Death Star plans and stuff like that.
I already know. It was Rogue One.
Oh, you shit.
Yeah, it was Cassian Andor, not Kyle Katarn.
How dare you?
So that's what they want us to believe.
That's what they want you to think. Oh God! All right, so yeah, we've gone over that. What is this? Just kind of going through some of the or pass.
The hardest of the pass.
Hi there, Redhead Wing. Welcome to to the stream. Do they all blow up on a beach at the end? No, we did not get treated to that. He did say earlier, Bad Batch could have been how they came to be and what they were doing during the Clone Wars. Instead, we get Order 66 again in Omega. Yeah, Omega. God. So yeah, now I guess we could go into also. Well, okay, this is the funny thing. So just before, if anybody's been following the whole what has been going on, Volition, the company behind games, and at least for what I mostly know them for, is of course Saints Row games, which was basically GTA clone, but they kept it more to the gang side of things, especially with the originals, the Saints Row 1 and 2. 2 especially was fantastic. Their best one was kind of grounded, took the storyline seriously, but they still had a lot of goofy, comedic, and fun stuff on the side. So first, what happens is this has propped up on August 31st, but Volition has quote unquote no plans to remake Saints Row 1 and 2. Volition claimed they have no plans to remake the first 2 games of the Saints Row series after being asked by a fan. In a Twitter thread celebrating the 17th anniversary of the first game, one user mentioned that the first 2 games ought to be remastered as they haven't aged well. Official Saints Row account responded bluntly, saying there were no plans to remake those games, and we're gonna get to why. The statement came as a surprise to some fans, given the recent Saints Row 2022 reboot performed poorly. Well, that's why it shouldn't actually be a surprise, because it performed poorly. That doesn't incentivize companies and stuff like that to put out games of that same IP necessarily. They get scared when one thing with that name doesn't make money. So scared them off from the idea, probably. While it did technically turn a profit, the game seemingly failed to meet expectations. Last I had known, too, the game was a buggy hellhole mess. Shitty story aside, the gameplay itself was a mess. Saints Row has been available since August 2022 on Windows PC via Epic Game Store, PlayStation 4. Okay, that's us talking about the new game. Now, that was the funny thing. First, I'd caught that, and I put that aside for us to talk about. I'm like, okay, I'm collecting articles. Little did I expect this then to be the next set of dang it, there. The next set within the same day. I mean, I know they write these things like the previous days, or sometimes like that, but then Saints Row developer Volition shuts down after 30 years. Wow. Like I said, same day. But yeah, Saints Row developer Volition has announced they're shutting down after 3 decades of game production. Developer announced they've closed their doors as of today. News confirmed over the official LinkedIn page. Here's the full word from Volition. From their announcement, the Volition team has proudly created world-class entertainment for fans around the globe for 30 years. We've been driven by a passion for our community and always work to deliver joy, surprise, and delight. The past June, Embracer Group announced a restructuring program to strengthen Embracer and maintain its position as a leader in the video game industry. As part of that program, they evaluated strategic and operational goals and made the difficult decision to close Volition effective immediately. Ouch. To help our team, we are working to provide job assistance and help smooth the transition for our Volition family members. We thank our customers and fans around the world for all the love and support over the years. You will always be in our hearts. Volition Games. an unfortunate thing. The Saints Row games were fun up until that reboot, which I didn't touch whatsoever. But Saints Row 1 and 2, mainly 2 is the tops. After that, it went batshit insane with 3, 4, and Gat Out of Hell. Well, I loved Gat. I thought he was a great character and everything. I don't think he was main character worthy. He worked in the small doses that we got of him. So what I also see this as, and Jason, I get, they went woke, got and broke, and did attack the fans like me to a high level. Yeah, they shot themselves in the foot with behaving like that by going after fans. The thing that I look at it though is I don't necessarily think it was a go woke, go broke, or go woke sort of situation. What I do think it is also possibly even an EA Electronic Arts situation. This Embracer Group picked them up and mismanaged the company. Mismanaged even their own side of things, probably. And so they're like they talk about in this is that they were, evaluated on whether or not they were worth keeping on. They had a game that did just flop. Their team was clearly not together because, like I said, the game was buggy, broken as hell. That's just looking at it on a purely gameplay standpoint. By that, yes, that alone kills your game, because if your gameplay is not fun, nobody's going to want to even entertain the idea of playing through to see even the storyline for as how crappy that can be. Gameplay is a key factor. If your game isn't fun, who's going to want to play it? So I
never did Saint Rose. I just thought they looked like trash.
The new game especially looked like trash. But like it is, I can see this as more of, like I say, an EA situation. This group picked up Volition, didn't know how to actually handle and manage the company. EA is notorious for this. They've done this with BioWare. They've done it with Respawn. Let me find the death list of companies. EA, Westwood Studios, who did the games like Command and Conquer and stuff like that. That was even pre-woke. That was EA mismanaging a company. So I can see this in many different ways. This was, I mean, yes, I will always say, subversion. That's what the word I prefer to use over woke. Subversion has always been in a lot of our entertainment and a lot of our media. But companies are also tend to be retarded, and they mismanage and stuff like that. Let me try and find even, let's see, EA F list. But yes, list of studios EA has acquired. Now let me bring it up really quick. Leave it to Reddit to have something like this. But yes, Visceral, Dead Space, shut down in 2017. Mythic, Dark Age of Camelot, for example, purchased by EA in 2006, shut down in 2014. Bullfrog, responsible for Syndicate and Dungeon Keeper, purchased by EA in 1995, shut down in 2001. Origin, who was responsible for Ultimo and Wing Commander, purchased by EA in 1992, shut down in 2004. Westwood, Command and Conquer. Loved that strategy game to death. Command and Conquer, Red Alert, awesome games. Great soundtrack. Purchased by EA in 1998, shut down in 2003. DreamWorks Interactive, Danger, Close, and EA Los Angeles for Medal of Honor was responsible for that game, or that franchise. Purchased by EA in 2000, shut down in 2013. Phenomics, Spellforce, Battleforge. Battleforge. Shout out to Curse Farms. He loved that game to death. Purchased by EA in 2006, shut down in 2013. Black Box Games, Need for Speed, Skate, purchased by EA 2002, shut down in 2013. Pandemic, The Saboteur, purchased by EA 2008, shut down in 2009. This is why I say, so whenever the company Embracer Group had purchased Volition, to bring it back to that, whenever they purchased it, probably mismanaged, yes, did bring in a lot of the subversive elements and stuff like that. They, of course, hired, like even Jason points out, Gen Z hipsters and shits like that, or millennials, people in our age group. And sadly, brought on the wrong sort. And yes, the company did go to shit. But, again, management can make a lot of difference in a company. They know how to, sort things around and stuff like that. Not everything has to go tits up. But unfortunately, that was the case for Volition. RIP to them. It's unfortunate. But some companies, unfortunately, that is what happens. And it seems like they also put out another sort of statement here. Let me bring this up. Cover everything. Oh, I didn't get the on screen. There we go. So in this, of course, 30 years of making games. There are only a handful of studios in the industry that have been around for 30 years. And we took a lot of pride over Volition being one of them. Volition has been around long enough that some folks forget what we made, but they certainly know our games. Refrains such as Volition made Descent, or Volition made Free Space, or Volition made that Summoner RPG with that hilarious video are not uncommon. Sometimes it's easier to remember the games more than the studio that built them, especially for those that have been around as long as we have. But all good things come to an end, and so it's with Volition. After 30 years, Volition has closed, and we wanted to say a few final words. I mean, that is true. A lot of people will remember more of the games than the company itself, but that also kind of depends on the company and if they have kind of certain outspoken talent or talent that certainly manages to be in the public eye a little more. For example, Bethesda, Todd Howard, Konami at the time, Hideo Kojima was very kind of because of Metal Gear Solid and stuff like that. He's kind of the few rare occasions when you know about the developer more than you know about the company or even sometimes the game. Todd Howard has a strew of memes, but you don't listen to him because he's a liar. But he's just a very effective salesman. Or Lionhead Studios, Peter Molyneux, because again, the guy kind of oversold his games. He's very passionate about his games. He's kind of got a little ahead of himself, if I'm going to be generous about that. But yeah, that's sometimes where you do get the moments where some things are kind of in tandem with even the games, with the companies and stuff, and the creators. So to start, we know there wouldn't be a studio without the people in it. While it may sound cliched, as those who have worked at Volition can attest, it truly is a huge family. Volition started with a team that had a vision for how to make the kinds of games others couldn't, and infuse that confidence throughout the entire company. We assembled an incredibly talented group of artists, storytellers, and creators who together built a culture that attracted top quality people who truly cared for each other. Time progressed, people naturally came and went, and very often returned again. But the people were always what made Volition truly special. This is kind of there's an interesting side to things too. What I found, which was kind of an interesting and kind of cool, there was, for the PC version of Saints Row 2, the port was garbage. The game was just not well optimized and stuff like that. The controls were kind of bunk. So it wasn't the best port in the world. But there was a modder out there that took it upon himself to help try and correct a lot of that, and put out a big mod, basically like an unofficial patch / mod, to really enhance the game and make it also, compatible with like controller and stuff like that a little more, and just make the gameplay smoother and work, and tweak a lot of things out. And in those one rare occasion, or not a rare occasion. I mean, Valve had made a practice off of this, but that modder, he got the attention of Volition, and they brought him on for work. And then last I'd known, he'd worked on like Agents of Mayhem, which was I never played it myself, so I can't really speak to it. It was another kind of like open world-ish sort of game, but more kind of like superhero-esque. Also, it didn't do so hot. But the really kind of cool thing was that they brought in on the modder, somebody that was passionately working on one of their games to help improve it for the player base. So, you know, there was some good little things on the side that, you know, sometimes does happen, but unfortunately, yes, they shot themselves in the foot much later on when I don't know if that said person was ever still around. I never followed up. But yeah. Remembering the good over some of the bad. But hey. Okay. Well, let's get let me kind of let's see, where was I? Time progressed, people naturally came and went and very often returned again, but the people were always what made Volition truly special. Do all developers feel the same? We know they do. But in the case, there truly was a unique culture of people that cared about each other like family, combined with the will to create some of the most unique games ever created. Thank you so much to every Volitionite who has ever worked here. You are all what made this magical place was to work at, and we can never say enough about how much you have meant to us over these 30 years. Beyond our development family, we also wouldn't have a studio without our extended family, our community. For 30 years now, you have played our games. Sometimes you've loved them. Sometimes you've been disappointed with them, but you've always been there. We can speak for everyone who has worked at Volition when we say all the hard work and sacrifices we put into these games have been for you. Over these many years, we have enjoyed working on an extremely diverse series of games, and so many of you have come along for that ride. We can't thank you enough for sticking with us throughout all this time. We've loved your enthusiasm every step of the way, even those times when you wish we had or hadn't gone a certain way with a Saints Row or Red Faction or Dissent. You are why we kept making these games, and those of us that have been part of the Volition family will be eternally grateful. Farewell. For the very final statement from Volition to wrap this all up. Like it was, like we said, they made mistakes, and we can't know for sure what all of the factors are. We can only make our assumptions about what was the final nail in this coffin for them. It could be column A, column B of overly subversive material versus, dipshit company management. Yes, like was pointed out by Jason, that they did, slander and attack the fan base and doing dumb shit like that. Yeah, it has often been the mitigating factor for a few companies going tits up because they decided to go after their main base of consumers or whatever you want to call people these days. You have any words on this, Hitman, to finish this off? Are you there? All right. Well, Hitman's gone a little quiet at the moment. See, Jason saying the model was good, but never got 100% done. More was gonna do more, but he did. Oh, wow. I didn't hear that. Died. R.I.P. Idol Ninja. Wow. Okay, well, that was kind of kicking the pants. I wasn't aware that had happened. This fired you up, Jason. They went woke, bro. Okay, yeah. He said it did go woke and did also became shitheads. I remember it way too well. I used to be a big Saints Row guy and did support them for years until they became woke and shit and changed the gameplay. But was not the worst gameplay, was the woke story. Yeah, and this is where the Gen Z hipster shit characters comes in. Saints Row 22 was the last change. Yeah, they had. And they fucked it up heavy and kind of called the fans terrorists. Oh, wow. That's so much shit and mocking us.
Oof. Terrorists.
A lot of people lost their minds during certain eras. So unfortunately, it doesn't surprise me.
It's a bold claim.
Right? But yeah,
Watch Bethesda go down next.
I mean, speaking of,
or Blizzard, one of the two. Blizzard's on my crap list ever since they just messed up Diablo.
Oh, yeah. Last I knew, Diablo still wasn't in the best of shape, or Diablo 4, I should say. But I can't say I've followed up and have looked into it, and I haven't heard anything from Wookiee on it, so I don't know if he's still been checking it out or if it's been playable recently or not. Last I'd heard, they'd borked it with Gearbox is next, banning users in the forums for giving Flack a gender. Waiting for them to close down, just a matter of time. I'm guessing that's the Volition. He hasn't had time to play it, so it's all good, Wookiee. I was just kind of curious since Hitman brought it up.
I honestly wonder, how long it'll last.
Always the question, right? Seems like a lot of places are kind of on borrowed time because of their own poor decision making, their way they handle social media, all sorts of now mitigating factors that can completely screw them over. Put out one bad game, it's all it takes sometimes. Yeah. But since you mentioned Bethesda, Founding in the comics has this one here. But Bethesda's Starfield game features transgender character, promotes the woke ideology in character creator. Now, this is certainly what's there. They got a little more than what some people have been talking about on the twats. Bethesda's upcoming Starfield game not only promotes the woke transgender ideology in its character creator, but it also features at least one transgender character in the game that players can interact with. I don't know if I've heard more or not. I can't remember. I know Sheefster's brought it up to me from some of the streamers he's followed. Bethesda Todd Howard confirmed the game would promote transgender ideology in its character creator back in November 2021. During a Reddit AMA, Howard was asked about the game's character creator, to which he answered, quote, really excited about what the team has done with the character creation here, including choosing background, skills, etc. You also pick your pronoun, he, she, they, and we've also recorded all the relevant dialogue to support that choice. This is where furthering of the subversion kicks into place. They make it as something, oh, it's just pronouns as part of our language. No. This is how they make you try and feel comfortable with it. Instead of just having the binary choice of what you pick for the sex of your character, they bring it in instead as pronouns. Again, language is important. Intentions are important. I get, people want to play the newest and greatest games and all that sort of jazz, but you got to be a little more discerning here. And you got to put on from They Live, got to put on those sunglasses and start seeing the world for what they're really trying to push in this stuff. Why I say subversion.
Groomers.
Woke, grooming, whatever, but I don't go for the woke. I go for subversion. They are subverting everything. They are subverting our society. They're subverting our culture. And they do it in ways that makes you feel comfortable with it. Oh, what they do in their bedroom is their own business until they bring it into the streets, until they bring it into the classroom.
Yeah, right.
They choose particular language to, shame you into it to then make you feel good about it. Or to at least feel like you're like, okay, yes, I guess I see your point. Going further, while some might believe this isn't really meaningful or try and claim it's a science fiction game, this is clearly a promotion of transgender ideology. Archbishop Alexander Sample of the Archdiocese of Portland, Oregon, explains in a Catholic response to a gender identity theory, quote, to some supporting aspects of social transition may seem benign, even humane, such as using someone's preferred pronouns and actively affirming his or her preferred gender. You are taking part in a mental illness if you are going that route. You are, as Dan Vasquez kind of commenting, people's mental illness and their own narcissism for their own little world ideology. Further quote, however, while well-intentioned, this kind of endorsement may help shepherd a young person on a path of unnecessary medicalization. Social transition is often the first step toward hormones and surgery, he elaborates. Archbishop Sample continues, quote, a 2020 survey of transgender and non-binary youth found that 64% of respondents were either already receiving cross-sex hormones or desired to do so. Danish researchers who first used puberty blockers on gender dysphoric children found that social transition increased the likelihood that dysphoria would persist and result in medicalization. Furthering, social transition can also include practices such as breast binding and genital tucking, both of which have been shown to have adverse effects on physical health, like testicular torsion and reduced fertility in males and abnormal lung function and back pain in females. Moreover, Sorry, go ahead.
No, you can finish because I do want to throw my 2 cents into this.
Okay. Moreover, a 2020 study on the effects of social transition found that a family and peer relations, but not social transition status, predicted psychological functioning. In other words, providing young people with love and social support need to be equated with endorsing the GAC model, he concludes. Not only does the game try to push transgender ideology by allowing players to select different pronouns than the sex of their characters, but it also features transgender characters in the game. YouTuber Az at Heel vs. Babyface discovered one such character while live streaming the game as part of its early access release. Roughly 4.5 hours after booting up the game, he comes across a female character named Hadrian that tasks him with taking down a terramorph and restoring power to an outpost. During his second live stream of the early access, he eventually returns to the planet Hadrian is located on. Hadrian provides some information about the terramorphs and their connection to the UC before sending him on another mission. After completing it and returning to the character, Hadrian tells him, "My relationship with the UC, it's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC is actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanin, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus." Oh, I see what they did. "Woe to the defeated," in Old Earth Latin, a title he earned. Hadrian continues the program. Quote, "The program I was part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians, secure the leadership of the UC military for the generations to come. Interestingly, after a significant delay, without any kind of prompt from Az, the character first asks the player, asks the player, 'Are you okay?' After an even longer delay, Hadrian says, 'I thought you deserved to know.' Upon choosing the dialogue option, 'You're a clone of a man? How's that work?' Hadrian answers, 'A non-trivial amount of gene editing.'" So we're basically getting to Omega here from Star Wars. We can probably equate this to the same sort of stuff. "Clone honestly isn't even really the right term for our relationship, thanks to the amount of donor material that was required to bring me into this world." Hadrian continues, "He and I are different on more than a few levels, but there's no denying the fact we're inexorably linked. What do you make of Starfield promoting transgender ideology through their character creator and including transgender characters in this game?" Oh. Especially when this child trying to claim that it's a clone. But yeah, what was it you were wanting to?
It's this whole ideology. I mean, this is no different. Like, I'm going to take I guess it doesn't matter if I take a biblical approach, because regardless, it was a thing. But this is no different than what the Ammonites used to do to babies when they used to sacrifice them to their god of Moloch. They used to sacrifice them to Moloch, which was god of fire. They used to throw babies into the fire to worship this god, and it's literally on the same grounds. It's you're not killing kids, but you're mutilating them, and it's sickening, and I watched this video where these parents were giving this boy that they made into a girl puberty blockers, and the child is on it. Like, I couldn't watch the whole video, but the child is screaming in pain, wanting it to stop, and the parents are going through with this. And I'm watching this video, and I'm like, this doctor needs to go before a firing squad, and the parents need to go to jail. I won't go as far as say firing squad, but definitely, but like this is the culture that we live
in. This is the thing. They use the cloning basically as a means of trying to make it okay. Oh, it's cloning. Oh, it's genetic manipulation. It's not really a transgender sort of situation. It's again trying to use the world as the excuse and the rationalization for all this, while at the same time subverting the thoughts of this. That could be completely off basis here, but
Satan's ministry is what I mean. Is just, this is reality. Like, they're talking about doing it in a game, but this is what they're doing in real life. This is gonna be a shameless plug, right? So I follow this guy, Steve Dace, right? He's the guy that he wrote The Nefarious Plot back in 2015, and there's a movie that just came out called Nefarious, right? Which is basically it's a parallel between like Screwtape Letters in a sense. It's a demon that's trying to get this atheist to believe in him so he can possess him. He's basically he's trying to show that, like, just because you claim to be atheist doesn't save you. Like, you're not protected from demons and hell just because you're an atheist, right?
Right. But you're still basically lumped in with the rest of the world.
Right. Absolutely. But he he posted he does a podcast, the Steve Day Show, and he's a conservative Christian, but they do this every Friday. He does Bleep That Lord Nefarious Says, and it's a show, a part of the show where he just takes I think Aaron, one of the guys, Aaron, he takes just these actual clips of what just people say, and they're just the most just atrocious, asinine, evil things that you humanly possible, right? And I was watching yesterday, and there's a clip. I wish I could try to clip it or play it, but there's a part where this guy was asking, there's a group of people like, would you let your children play football? And they're like, no, yeah, I probably won't let my children play football. Absolutely not. It's too violent or whatever it is. And then he asks the question, would you allow your kids to participate in a drag show? Like, and the 3 or 4 people, in the clip, the 3 or 4 different people are like, yeah, absolutely. I think that's perfectly fine. This is the, well, F it. It's supposed to be a Star Wars show, but when we talk about this,
we talk about other topics.
This is the whether you I'll just say it, from a Christian worldview, this is my belief that Satan has infiltrated. I mean, he runs this world, right? When biblically and within Christianity, but this has been culturally, this is the frog boiling in water over a long period of time. There, Sodom, throughout the year, there's, culture's always been, there's been evil in the world since,
and things go through different changes and stuff like that. Absolutely.
This is you talk about, people think Woodstock was bad, people were, drugs and whatnot, but in my life, I've never come to a point in my life where right has become wrong and wrong has become right, and people defend it. Right. So if you're a Christian that believes in the Bible, you are a racist, a bigot, and deserve, to be shipped off to an island, right? Because you.
While at the same time, those people that will chastise and do that to those of the faith are then bringing in their own people to subvert the religion, take it over, and make it into something different.
Even without
has been happening to different churches.
Right. I think the point still remains that there's an evilness. This stuff is evil. Absolutely evil. And just trying to justify it with cloning, at the end of the day, it's like you say,
it's justifying it. Thank you.
And you're attacking children who don't have the wherewithal to, at that point in time, defend themselves, whether it be mentally, they don't know. They're innocent. Generally speaking, right? They don't know when so you want to push the fact that Tommy, you can be a girl if you want to be a girl, and Julie, you can be a boy if you want to be a boy, and that's actually possible because there's multiple genders, and this is just that's where I draw the line, going after the doing it in general in the first place is sin and it's wrong, right? But when you start doing it to the kids, that's where it's man, F off.
That's when you start crossing a lot of boundaries with a lot of people. And that's what's been kind of happening, is some kickback on that.
As a Christian, I shouldn't say F off, but that's where I draw the line, and they're no better than the Ammonites sacrificing babies to Moloch in the fire. I mean, literally, when you research that biblically, whether it be biblically or secularly, when you research what they did, there was a shrine that they would heat up, and they throw these babies on this plate, this gold plate, and then they would basically either burn to death on that plate or they would roll off to their death. That's literally what they did. Child sacrifice. It's literally abortion in a sense. You can draw a parallel between that and abortion.
Analogy for abortion, right?
So, I will not be playing this game. I don't think I've ever played. I even forget what.
You haven't played a Bethesda game?
Well, I'm definitely not this one. I had no idea that
I was already wary of it myself, and then once I started hearing some of the stuff that was coming out about the game, I mean, there were some things that was like, "Oh, that doesn't sound so bad," and then I started hearing about the character creation aspect that kind of raises a red flag, and
You know, I had an issue with
my understanding. There's more than just this clone character.
Yeah. I
in
mean,
the
I
game.
remember we talked about when they were going to remake KOTOR and they were going to do Revan as like when they were going to do Revan could be female, right? They were trying to they're trying to push the he, she, whatever, right? And we were talking about like,
Yeah,
no, that's
people
not
were
okay.
trying
Revan
to
was
blur
never
that with so
right.
Revan was actually but no,
like,
that was not the case.
No, Revan was so like that. I mean, that irritated me in a sense because it's like no, like Revan was a dude, was never a girl. Like that's one thing, but this is now
It's
you're
one thing
now
that
you're,
it's one thing to introduce it as a game mechanic. It's another when you are trying to rewrite the canon, which was what they were trying to do too. Was trying to rewrite the canon.
Oh, I mean, we're in a world of hurt when when people actually parents think that puberty blockers are good and genital mutilation is a thing, and I mean, my goodness, like it is straight evilness, man, straight evil. Worshippers of Satan, man.
Fortunately, it's kind of becoming a reality of a thing that you see.
They're not. And it's the normalizing it, the normalization of it. Like it's like you and I, if we ever take this show public, if we ever go, like what J3PO, we ever did this outside, and people caught wind, like outside our circle, caught wind of what you and I talk about.
Right.
Boy, howdy, we would be sent to the pike. They would want our head on a pike, right? Because what we stand for, I mean, we might have our difference in beliefs, but like, I think when it comes to like the main points, like I think we agree on most, or at least some, right? But the things that we agree on would be considered we ran out of town, right? And we would be considered, haters and zealot bigots.
Right.
I don't know how many words there are in the human dictionary that would describe what they might think of us because of what I mean, at least what I stand for, what I believe, right? So this is just terrible, and I probably will never play another. If this is, like I said, if this is true, which I have no reason to believe that's not true, I don't see Doomcock's name on here. So if this is true and this is a thing, I will not be playing any Bethesda games.
Their earlier games aren't so bad. It was
Fallout
definitely
Vegas,
less on this less on this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they take a lot of time in between games, but their games have always been very very buggy, and it's always taking them time to fix their games.
Fallout wasn't bad. New Vegas wasn't bad. That's probably
New Vegas wasn't them. That was Obsidian.
Oh, that was Obsidian. You're right. Why did I think it was Bethesda?
And they've gone the subversive routes too. So.
What did Bethesda do now that I'm trying to think?
Bethesda are in charge of the Elder Scrolls series, so Skyrim,
that's right.
Oblivion, and then then they did Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and Fallout 76.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Star Wars Theories got me thirsty.
Wookie saying, I have a good friend that quit several games over woke stuff, is 20 hours in, and they are fine. I would challenge that. I'll say that people that claim that they can see the material maybe are also just trying to kid themselves, ignoring it, want to see it. And oftentimes I've seen stuff, certainly my brother catches on to a lot more shit than I do. And I'd challenge that. Luke Norris, I'm a Bethesda hater. LOL. I love Fallout 1 and 2. Hell yeah, brother. Bethesda bought it and turned it into an FPS, and I've despised them ever since. They turned it into Skyrim with guns. That is effectively what they did. Fallout 4 was still more of 3, but the whole town building wasn't a bad idea. So it just that was definitely where it needed modders to elaborate more on the mechanics, and they had. But no, I get you 100%, dude. old Fallout was great, especially when you just the fact that you could do what was basically like the brain dead route and just be a complete like knuckle dragging Neanderthal. All the dialogue options reflected just how low intelligent you were, and you basically had like basically like me smash bug, and even the like NPCs would respond to you of like yeah, just go over there and take care of it. Just little stuff like that was fantastic. Crimson Raptor Hitman really selling that toxicity. You're bringing it, brother.
Trying to.
Well, you know, it's like I've said before, it's like I want to enjoy shit, I really do, but once you got the sunglasses on and you start seeing just what all the bullshit they're trying to push, kind of hard to. And that, you know, the funny thing is, like, I've always had my brother and I, we've always had very picky tastes in games. And even like the Crimson Raptors point, this shit is why I have much more fun playing older games. That's why I stick to playing much older games.
And you brought up this a couple weeks ago, this comment about like I think, quote me if I'm wrong, but something along the lines of like you're ready for the gaming, I don't know what you call it, the gaming community or the gaming platform. You said something like that you wanted to burn, right? And then you said, I'm trying to remember how you quoted it, but like all like future, you wanted the gaming. God, why did you say? Do you remember what? Does this ring a bell?
Refresh my memory again.
Oh, we were talking about. We were talking about like wanting the gaming the future gaming to like basically be set fire. So it could be restarted, basically.
Yeah, basically, to have the whole of the gaming industry basically crash, burn to the ground, and allow for the availability for maybe it to kind of go quiet for a little while, because I think gaming has kind of bloated too much.
So
and it needs to be reset to zero. And
reading this article, does it amplify your want? Does it expedite your want faster? Does that make any sense?
Oh no, I've already been basically like
there's nothing. So there's nothing.
I'm foot on the gas. Let's go, bitches. So, I mean, yes. I mean, every little stupid shit thing that comes out when all these companies are making all these asinine decisions about what they're trying to do, the way they're trying to censor players and stuff like that. Yeah. Every time it's like more press on the gas, you know.
I'm right there with you. I think I don't think after reading this article, I don't think we'll ever get back to a point where games will be solid again. Because it's not a matter of developing.
Not without a major change. A major crash.
No, but I don't even think I don't even think a crash would do it. It has nothing to do with the development of the game. I mean, it could have a little bit about the story writing, but at the end of the day, what it comes down to is the ideology and the culture and what people are now pushing, what people now believe to be is acceptable, like gender identity politics and genital mutilation and like I said, what riot is wrong and wrong is right. Like that is now embedded. That has now become an ideology, and it is very hard to change ideology without something to combat that, right? So, yeah. I mean, you can go into more, but it would be
much longer.
Much longer. It would be much longer, but it would be like, what combated. I don't know if that would be a right analogy, but it's like what Hitler thought he was doing in his mind may have been in his mind right, but what combated his ideology that he was pushing, right? It was the other side. So morals, what's good, objectively true, all that kind of stuff.
You buy modern games that don't support those ideals, like regular games.
But
if I find them, I try and
and to Wookie's point, where are they at?
Right.
I mean, outside older games, like it's it's like watching these shows, man. Watching these Disney shows and reading these books. Like, my goodness, was it Sam Maggs or whoever that girl is? Had the audacity, came out and said Obi-Wan was gay and didn't cite any sources on the thing, just so she could push Kenobi, just so she could push her LGBTQ ideology. There's no facts. There's nothing within that I know within EU or canon or anything that George said that led anybody to believe that he was gay or bi. Right. So again, like but it's hard to find. And then there's all this stuff with Ahsoka now. Like, I've heard so many people within Twitter and people doing reviews that are saying that Sabine and Ahsoka are a couple, are basically are gay with each other. Now, I don't know, because Ahsoka's not canon and Sabine's not canon. So again, I don't know. But again, this is like they're implementing this stuff into shows. Now, that might be subjective because nobody has come out and said Ahsoka's gay and Sabine's gay, but like that's what people are saying. And because people are saying that, you can now watch that, and now it raises the question: well, are they?
And infer it and stuff like that.
And who's watching? And who is watching? Who is their target audience? Disney as a whole, generally speaking, what is Disney's target audience? From
a lot of weirdos.
What age? Well, from what age to what age?
Oh, I mean, Disney itself is meant to be like a family company,
right?
Family and kids.
And what is and how do what is in a family? Parents and kids.
Yep.
Right.
Mother, father, kids.
So when the parents think it's okay, therefore they will allow the kids to watch, and then the kids will, now they'll have to confront this. Just boycott Disney just as a whole. It's hard because I don't think Disney was always like this. Well, maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, like, yeah, sometimes boycotting works. Sometimes, though, it doesn't. Sometimes all you can do is just be in control of yourself. You make your decisions, not support these things that you deem unworthy. And basically, like I just said, and kind of like Wookie is asking, though, I want the whole thing to burn. And like it is, I stream older games. That's what I'm building off of and everything like that. I want to continue to support the old. So that is kind of certainly where I stand on it. I just want it all. I would love it to change it overnight. It'd be awesome. Have everything back to square one, but I know that's never going to happen. So I'm just going to keep praying to the gods. We get this bitch to collapse one way or another. But like it is, I'll be a discerning customer. I'll purchase what I decide to purchase, as I always have. And I'll go from there. Like it is. They've certainly, the gaming industry, it's certainly, if people behaved more like myself and my brother, you would see radical change fast. You wouldn't have the whales. You wouldn't have all the microtransactions. Games would be a lot different because, like I said, we've always been very picky. We got jaded very early on. I think I've told these stories. Like, gaming made it, especially like early on, a lot of hype around different games and everything. And they used to be pretty manipulative with their marketing. We used to get cutscenes that were almost treated like as if it was gameplay. We didn't know the difference at the time. But then, like it was, we just kind of got different storylines we didn't like often. While we like to try and paint the past of being being in this whole great landscape of gaming, we've had our shit. And especially early on, even game journals back then, especially when they were starting to make that turn, sold a lot of shit.
As messed up as games were back then, as messed up as games were and as violent as they were, like Doom and Gears of War and I don't know. I'm sure Spider-Man was probably violent, but as violent as those were, and yes, they were violent and there was killing.
Yeah.
You can make the argument, I guess, either way that you probably shouldn't play those games, right? If you're taking a kind of moral stand and whether you're Christian or not, like you probably shouldn't be playing those games because at the end of the day they're violent. But I will say for those games, they're bad. Like again, they're bad. You shouldn't do it. It promotes killing, whatever. But again, like this game and what they're doing now is on. Yeah, it's bad and it's still bad. But now you're messing with the kids, and I mean.
And how many kids play mature rated games still, despite the fact that they shouldn't?
Oh my goodness!
But they still
Call
play.
of Duty.
Right?
I got you know how many times I get told to F off from a 14-year-old playing Call of Duty. Like his sack hasn't dropped, and I'm getting to, and he just it's like it's not as bad. It'll never be as bad as a Modern Warfare 2 lobby, and luckily. I went through a Modern Warfare 2 chat lobby and I have thick skin. I know how to combat these, like you're not gonna like get on as I'm like Mr. Miyagi, like wax on, young grasshopper. Like I was doing this game before the game was even a game, but it was saying atrocious stuff. Like, where do you learn this stuff? How do you even know what you just said? A little turkey. But no, they're playing these games because the parents don't care.
Right.
That's fine. Do your homework, play your game. That's fine. If you do your homework and get an A, I'll let you play whatever game you want and not even care about what. I was like, oh, well, that game looks okay. Yeah, you can play it. Albeit this game is promoting, what the gender ideology or whatever. And so then they go to school and then they come back and think that, like, I want to be a girl. What did you just say? Yeah, I want to be a girl. Now you have to have the talk with them, right? If you're a good parent, then you'll shut that down right at the door.
Right.
What a show, man. Dude, we haven't even got to Ahsoka.
I know. We haven't gotten to the shit.
No, but this stuff is important to talk about, right? Because, like,
absolutely.
I have my side, I have my where I come from, and we talked a little bit before the show last week. I'm whatever I have my beliefs, whatever you believe, right? So, but at the end of the day, whether you're Christian or not, I think it's wrong, right? I mean, you think of it that this is wrong?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, so I think it needs to be talked about. I come at it from a biblical worldview. You come at it from, whatever worldview you hold. But at the end of the day, we both agree that this is evil, right? And I think both sides of it can justify why it's evil.
Yeah, it's the twisting of a society that was once working.
Subversion is what you said.
Subversion, perversion, and destruction.
I was like, why is he using the word subversion? But I mean, it's right on. You've hit it right on. Is what it is, man. Subverting the truth. They're exchanging. In the Bible, I think it's in Romans. It says they exchange the truth for a lie, right? And that's what it is. Today's society and this world has exchanged the truth for a lie, and will die for that lie and defend that lie, despite how asinine that lie might be. So it doesn't need to be talked about. So,
And to look, this is big picture. Wookie says here, big picture, we are entering clickbait era on Twitter. People are going to say crazy stuff for engagement. Absolutely, I get that. And that's why, yes, go into people's live streams and stuff like that. Go check out what some of the content of the game is. And sail the seas if you feel the need to really check something out. Right. I mean, there is still things like GameFly that exist, for God's sakes. You can still rent some games. So instead of paying out the butt, but also, wait for the paid journos to even like drop screenshots and stuff like that. Because that's what also has been happening is people have been dropping screenshots of this stuff. But yes, be cautious of what's being. I mean, this is the thing. Always be cautious, no matter where you are, of what's being posted online. Question. This is I've said it. Question everything. Question everyone. That's what I was. That was what I raised to do. Yeah. And that's great. NDA is over. Okay, so people can start talking. Well, and people have already been doing live streams. So you can certainly check a lot of that stuff out. And then you can get a perspective. It may not be playing the game yourself, but you can see the storyline. You can see the choices that are being made. And you can make your own decisions off of that too. People also put up just the gameplay. So you don't have to have their talking, so that you can kind of get your own perspective on it on that way. You aren't being influenced by the influencer, basically, who's playing the game. So,
play for
I'll always say yes. Question it all. Don't even just take my freaking word for it. Do your own research. I'm coming from my own worldview perspective of being biased against this stuff. So I'm jaded, I'm jilted, or whatever. I've been frustrated with the gaming industry in particular for a very long time. It's done its own smokes and mirrors to sell their products and stuff like that. And that's why I became very, very picky about what I picked up, what I played, and I got burned even with some of the decisions I made. It's made me more pickier. But it's all, like I said, if the gaming industry is based off of just myself and like my brother, this industry would be very different. Because like it is, they aren't getting rich off of us.
No,
they aren't getting rich off of us, because like it is, we will buy a game that we feel has earned our hard-earned money. Otherwise, though, no.
I don't know when the last game I bought was.
Like brand new sort of thing, or
yeah. I mean, the last game. I mean, it was Jedi. I think Jedi Outcast. I bought it.
Oh, you bought Xbox.
But I bought it through the store. But like, I can't tell you the last good game that I bought. I guess I should say.
I mean, the last good game I backed was. It was a backer thing. That was
I'm not the new game. When was the last new good game that you bought?
This is gonna be stupid.
If you say Animal Farm.
Oh no.
Oh no.
And this is the thing. I hadn't touched the franchise in the longest damn time.
Fortnite. Did you say You're gonna say?
Oh
Fortnite?
no. No. One of the newest games that had come out that I decided to pick up was WWE 2K23.
Okay.
And even prior to that was 2K19, and even prior to that was the PS2 era of wrestling games. So again, not making money off of my ass, but those wrestling games are fun as shit sometimes. But I mean, otherwise, I did buy the Yakuza games when they came out on Steam. I don't know if those are considered new, mainly because they're ported over. But those games are good. A little iffy stuff here or there, but I still like them.
Mm-hmm.
So, So, Wookie was saying Brittany Venti is also tweeting over this, so I raised an eyebrow. Well, like he said too earlier, topical shit's gonna get talked about. It's gonna get discussed. It's gonna get engagement. So that's what people are looking for. Just finished Aliens Dark Descent. Very fun and difficult. And I think it was $40. Last great game I bought was Elden Ring. Last good game. He got my money's worth. Diablo 4, even though they bunked that one. Dude, I still play OG SmackDown versus Raw on PS2. I think that was one of the games I was emulating, and my brother and I were playing it. We're like, if only we could mod it with music and shit, like to do our character entrances and everything, because that's the best part of the wrestling games is the character creator. And then I started looking into it. I'm like, oh hey, the newer games, they allow you to like mod it to put in your own music and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, okay. Grabbed 2K19 when it was on sale, and we went from there. We were playing the shit out of it. I gotta reinstall 2K23 at some point. We gotta get back to our game on that. Still got to play more Armored Core. Camera takes a minute to learn. I mean, this is your first Armored Core game, if I recall, right, Wookie? So that doesn't surprise me. But I know my brother's been just playing the shit out of it. I don't know if he's playing it right now. Not right now. Okay, yeah, it is. It's for. I mean, Armored Core it's definitely a game that I know I've never been great at, but I've had fun with just building mechs. I remember. What was it either Armored Core Masters of the Arena or something on the PlayStation 1? The old early GameFAQs days, people had like diagrams and stuff like that on how you could try and recreate Gundams at the time. And at the time, Gundam Wing was really big. So I was like, oh, do they have Death Scythe? Does somebody have like a good tutorial on how to put together Death Scythe? And thankfully, some of them did. It was but the mech was shitty as hell. Like, it was not very functionable for what I for playing, because it's just putting together the parts to get the look. It's the functionality is where it was like, oh, okay, fun, but it just wasn't quite as effective as actually putting together a proper mech suit. It also it looks awesome, but I've never owned a PlayStation. I may pick up Armored Core 6. I mean, from what my brother's been enjoying the shit out of it, and like it is, he's very, very shrewd when it comes to games, and he's been liking it. He's been playing the hell of it, and he had kind of dropped out of Armored Core, I think, from either the PS3 version, which was I think Armored Core 4 or something like that. A lot of people got jaded around some of those versions of the game, and he bounced on the series a while ago just because of bad decisions and stuff. But I mean, like it is, the newest one looks fantastic. It looks really good. Looks fun, and the graphics, nothing to wag a finger at. It looks pretty good. So, from my understanding, good game. So there's some positivity out there. What can I? It's not all
No,
doom and gloom as I can be, but there's some like it is. There's some gems out there, and like I say, you got to be picky. If more people were not as it's been referred to as just the consumer brain, if people would actually take it back, not worry about the whole FOMO, the fear of missing out, we could maybe make some dents here and there to kick these companies in the balls, even just a little fraction of a bit, to make them feel just that wincy bits of pain. But sadly, as I've learned, gamers are the fucking worst when it comes to trying to boycott or do anything worth a damn. That's why I'm very skeptical on what it was that brought Volition down. I think I'm really leaning on this poor management.
Is that what you think?
I think so. I mean, yeah, they shot themselves in the foot by putting out a bad developed game, but I mean, we've seen all sorts of stuff for companies that get resurrected for no fucking reason. Yes, fuck Norse. Stop pre-ordering. That's a big one. Yeah, that's a big one right there. The last game. Well, no, I didn't even pre-order it. I had gone to a midnight release for oh god, the freaking GTA hacking game. Oh, what was that one called? Watch Dogs. I went to a midnight release for that. Yeah, it was right after work. I was doing a late shift, and I was like, I'm late anyways, so I'll swing by GameStop. I think I actually had pre-ordered that, actually. No, I didn't, because I had to be in a separate line. And picked that up, and man, was I disappointed. I'm trying to think of what the last game I pre-ordered was before that. It's been a long time. Been a long time. Yeah, as long as people keep buying the new COD every single year, these companies have no reason to improve. Well, and yeah, the Call of Duties, the GTAs, like I think people were did they release that Red Dead Redemption port? I knew they were doing that, and they weren't even doing anything to like remaster it or anything. They're just basically porting it completely. Did nothing for it. And I'm willing to bet if they did, it sells. It sells. Because I also have no faith in the fucking gamers out there. I mean, Jesus Christ. Freaking Todd Howard said it best. You keep buying it, I'll keep releasing it. And he did that for Skyrim. He released Skyrim on every godforsaking system, practically. I'm pretty sure he would probably release it on PS5 and Xbox X and stuff. God. He basically challenged everybody. Like, I dare you to not buy it.
Gaming's
He called the
dead.
bluff. He called it. We bluffed. We fucking failed. Ugh. Speaking of Call of Duty, we want to go into this one. I kind of had to laugh at the niche gamers titling for this. Activision ends world racism with real-time Call of Duty voice chat monitoring. Activision has ended slavery and all racial abuse in the world as they have now incorporated real-time in-game voice chat moderation for their bloated shooter franchise, Call of Duty. Determined to look good in the eyes of Twitter degenerates and social justice cultists. Damn, did freaking Bounding into Comics write this? They're getting a little edgy over on Niche Gamer. Activision has taken the initiative when it comes to stopping people from saying mean words as opposed to actually fixing bugs in their games or making the games fun. A Twitter user shared the announcement on Twitter and revealed it will be affecting multiple games. Breaking. Activision will add real-time in-game voice chat moderation in Call of Duty. AI-powered detection will work in-game to listen and report rule-breaking issues automatically. It's live in Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone in North America and expands worldwide in Modern Warfare 3. And they have the details here. Now, this is what I kind of joked about because we talked about this on Static's weekend pregame. And like I pointed out, and for anybody that remembers this, I'm pretty sure you don't know about this one, Hitman. There was a thing called Bully Hunters, which was this set up little production of this group of basically like female gamers that would wait for reports to come in certain games like Counter-Strike and stuff like that. If there was a bully in the game, they would jump into that same game once they got the reports and bully back the bully and take him or her down. But yeah, this is basically what they're trying to do. They're trying to also this I think is also they're using gaming as a means to incorporate more and further surveillance on people. And I mean, gaming isn't just the only thing. Like they've already been releasing things like there's the Echo Dots and stuff like that out there that are basically always designed to be listening in on your conversations. So it can also quote unquote sell things better to you or get more to what you are looking for. But they are just glorified spy devices. And like it is, our phones are mobile spy devices. I mean, that was probably the biggest in that they got. But I mean, again, there's every little corner that they're really trying to limit and remove any privacy that we do have. So yeah, Call of Duty is taking the next leap forward in its commitment to combat the toxic, disruptive behavior with in-game voice chat moderation, beginning with launch of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 this November. Go get it. Activision will team with Modulate to deliver global real-time voice chat moderation at scale, starting with its fall's upcoming Call of Duty blockbuster. This is I saw this and I tweeted it out and I tagged you. I was like, so are you still gonna be buying this shit?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I logged in today, sure enough, I had a notification with the terms of agreement for the for them to listen in. So I'm going to be saying a lot of stuff on tonight when I log on.
Call of Duty's new voice chat moderation system utilizes ToxMod, the AI-powered voice chat moderation technology from Modulate, to identify in real time and enforce against toxic speech, including hate speech, discriminatory language, harassment, and more. This new development will bolster the ongoing moderation systems led by the Call of Duty anti-toxicity team, which includes text-based filtering across 14 languages for in-game text, chat, and usernames, as well as a robust in-game player reporting system. An initial beta rollout of the voice chat moderation system, moderation technology, will begin in North America on August 30th inside the existing games Modern Warfare 2, Warzone, to be followed by full worldwide release, excluding Asia, timed to Modern Warfare 3 on November 10th. Support will begin in English with additional languages to follow at later date. Since the launch of Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty's existing anti-toxicity moderation has restricted voice and or text chat to over 1 million accounts detected to have violated the Call of Duty Code of Conduct. Consistently updated text and username filtering technology has established better real-time rejection of harmful language. We are becoming a massive pussified fucking society, people. Good God. Like Hitman was mentioning earlier, the old Modern Warfare 2 chat lobbies. I remember before that, the Counter-Strike, the Team Fortress, Day of Defeat. My God, we got foul sometimes. But, hey, through that, you grew stronger, Hey, and what was the old saying? Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. I'm rubber, you're glue, all that jazz, Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to this people being like, those are just some bullshit words. What do I care? We started taking things a little too personally. We started taking the internet too seriously. Like it was. I remember it. You don't listen to a damn thing you read on the internet. Never. It wasn't meant to be taken so well. Who knows what it was meant for in actuality, but certainly for us, it was just called, this is just some fun bullshit. Turned into such, because like it is. We've talked about this before. It was kind of its own little proving ground. You either knew how to talk shit better than the person talking shit at you, or you just kicked their ass and proved who you were as the better player. You had those options. That's what you do. Instead, now it's called, I'm going to block you, or I'm going to report you to Xbox and systems. It's almost like a way of making you more liable to freaking basically government overlords. Instead of Big Daddy, he's got like Microsoft, or in this case, Activision, to come in and take out those mean-speaking, I don't know what the hell you want, the bullies or whatever, the toxic gamers. So how does the Call of Duty voice chat moderation work? Voice chat moderation is managed and operated by Activision and uses the AI-powered model ToxMod. God, the naming choices. From modulate, the system is integrated with select. Okay, so does voice chat moderation enforcement happen in real time? Detection happens in real time with the system categorizing and flagging toxic language based on the Call of Duty code of conduct as it is detected. Detected violations of the code of conduct may require additional reviews of associated recordings to identify context before the enforcement is determined. Therefore, actions taken will not be instantaneous as the system grows. Our process and response times will evolve. Does this system ban trash talk from Call of Duty? The system helps enforce the existing code of conduct, which allows for quote unquote trash talk and friendly banter. But when do they actually make the distinction between the two? Because everybody has a different means of what they think is fun trash talk and stuff like that, or friendly banter. So, how are they going to actually discern that? Are they going to, what is the AI language going to really like detect the speech patterns, how people are inflecting what they're saying to each other? I mean, sometimes they come off still sounding heated, but you're just having some fun. Does the AI enforce violations of the code of conduct it detects? So there's much more of this shit. Like it is, that's been popped up on Twitter. So back onto the article, end of it. As opposed to merely telling people to use the block functionality or similar, Activision is determined to make their M-rated murder simulators family friendly. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, these options have been in things like Xbox Live, even on Steam and stuff like that for the servers that they've hosted and everything with like Team Fortress 2. You have the ability to block, mute players and stuff like that if they are being obnoxious. I mean, Lord knows I've run into that in like Team Fortress 2 when some dipshit, wants to, I think we've talked about this on Static Show. Some dipshit wants to just play some obnoxious ass music into the game. So, hey, you've got the option to mute that sort of dumb shit. That's understandable. Somebody just talking trash, though. But I mean, that's the thing. You have the ability to mute and block and all that crap in these games nowadays.
Yeah.
This is just taking things just that step too far in my book. Like, it is like taking control out of people's hands. Let people make this. Oh, what am I thinking? Can't let people think and make decisions for themselves. They gotta tell them what to do. The big company is gonna tell you what to do. By using AI to do so, there will likely be instances of people losing access to their games over an AI decision. Comments on social media indicate that most aren't happy with this ludicrous waste of company time and resources. Good old some good memes going there. World's gone soft, absolutely. Rated AM game, by the way. Dies from cringe. You've been using something like that. DoD or video games in general will never be the same again. That's some truth.
God.
What?
I just interject really quick. So there is no.
Look at Luke Goblin Jr. Gonna cry.
There's no. So I just scrolling through Twitter to try to find a couple more articles, and freaking Star Wars. He has a strength theory channel.
All right, let's.
Anyways, go ahead. I just can't.
We'll get. Oh, he has a bunch of theory channels. But yeah, people are really just going through venting about this decision. Whew. Look at all that. Hot diggity dang. Well, there's an occasion when the gamers come out and actually make a stink. Whatever happened to free speech, indeed. Well, I have my theories. I'm just not going to say it. Jeez. But yeah, that was. Yeah, where's the fun anymore?
They don't have enough people. There's no, unless it's AI, there's no amount of pay. They don't have the payroll, the resources, And who would want to do that job? Literally. So it has to be some type of AI software. And I don't know how they would launch it, how they would get it in your microphone, because most people play Call of Duty with headsets.
Right.
That are
well, and
Bluetooth.
I talked about this on the pregame. I could see this as being a push for people to go on to alternative platforms, things like Discord, things like Gilded. Maybe we'll see things like the old chat programs like Ventrilo or TeamSpeak, if those things are even still a thing anymore. No, I think those got integrated. I believe TeamSpeak got integrated into Discord. So it may spark the creation of new platforms for gamers to go on to while they play on their systems and stuff like that, through their apps, through their tablets, through their computers or whatever. There's alternative. There could be the opportunity for alternatives. Hell, people probably start using their phones too. This is kind of the funny thing. This was kind of brought up in Metal Gear Solid 2. Is that basically it's going to be the atomization of all these different groups and stuff like that are just going to segregate themselves further and further off from each other because of these sort of stupid decisions. People are just going to keep going into their own little, closed communities, stay there because the rest of it is just so freaking retarded at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically like what like the decisions like this, it's kind of forcing people into that. And it's funny. Metal Gear Solid 2 proves to be right again. Let's see. COD was fun at first release, then died season 1. Nick Merckx hurt them worse than they want to admit. I mean, like it was, I dropped out of Call of Duty myself at World at War. I have Black Ops. I didn't realize I had it on my Steam, but World of War was the last one I really played like multiplayer online. Yeah, just because people brutally got blown apart and shit. That was awesome. They'll just move to private party chats. I think most do anyway, so they don't have to hear little Tommy screaming. Weren't you just talking about that too?
I mean, that's what I do. I just turn party chat off.
Yeah.
Or just turn party chat on, and so I don't have to listen to anybody else.
Red Hoodwink remembers bully hunters. All right, nice. So sad and hilarious. I remember too, says Fuck Norris. Nice. Clearly, it never endured an Xbox 360 lobby. And these people haven't endured any sort of
nothing.
Yeah. They even got sponsored by Steel something. Oh, I think yeah, the bully hunters. Yeah, they were backed by some fucking company. I forgot what. I think it was Steel though. Proxima, yeah. More like vague code of conduct because they never tell you why you got banned or who snitched on you. Yeah, and they can change it at any time they want. Thereby, then, even though like they could have had one set of rules set, they then decided, oh no, we've updated our code of conduct. So now you've broken potentially those rules that we've set. They can just keep doing that, keep basically moving the goalposts. And you'll never, and like what they don't have to tell you what you did. They'll just say you did something wrong and we're putting you in jail. Kind of like Static getting put in Twitter jail. Never really found out what he did, what happened. We only have assumptions or guesses or whatever you want to say. Wookie, I'm gonna be like, you're such a good puppy. Want a cookie? Yeah, the killing them with kindness approach. I could go with that. So I guess if I say Trump 2024, I can expect a lifetime ban. Probably. Unless a bunch of weird autists end up twisting the AI in some weird way. Yeah, look at little Goblin Jr. Gonna cry. I should grab that clip. Steel Series. Yeah, Steel Series headphones sponsored Bully Hunters, so don't buy that crap. Never did. Black Ops 2 is the last COD I played. Okay. Red Hoodwinked. Gotcha. Yeah, like it was. I didn't even realize I had Black Ops 1 on my thing. They are already in party chat on consoles, have been for months. Yeah, I mean, like I said, people are just gonna. I mean, when I had a 360, that's what I did with the few people that I played, like Halo 3 multiplayer, and I think whatever the was. Did they release Halo 4 on Xbox 360? It would have been then that was like the last game I played with the online multiplayer and stuff, and I just hung out with people in a private chat lobby, and that's where we did all that. So, yeah. Look at the group chat. Do you approve? I'll take a look. Hang on. They can move off console completely if they want to. Just do Discord or so. Absolutely, yeah. And that's just, and while Discord has its problems, there is also Gilded. And then, like I said, there's a possibility, and people can also use like this on Steam. There's a voice chat on there. You can, and like I said, this could just spark people creating other instances and servers and stuff like that to have their own voice chat lobbies and stuff. Like I said, there might be, yeah, Discord is a super tattletale, like on your if you're on your social media and stuff like that, depending on how you're behaving, they'll rat you. And that's why I have set up myself. I have set up a Gilded server, which I've been thinking about having us move over to. Let's see.
All right.
Sith Field. Nice, Wookie. Nice. I just saw that. Yeah, it definitely is. Discord is kind of ratty.
Can you go to Discord and see what I tagged you in, please? Because I was crying laughing.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Oh, I looked at. Hang on, let me. Thanks to Filoni, lightsabers are now as dangerous as wiffle ball bats. More felony nonsense. I slaughter them like animals with your lightsaber, Anakin. I'm sure they're all up and walking around by now.
I laughed very hard when I saw that. Don't know who posted it, but thank you for either creating
that
it
was
or
the originally Geek Daddy 75 on Twitter. I mean, it's true. It's so freaking true. I mean, it just needed the lightest of explanations, and it could have been fine. But no, they just had to. Well, was there funny, but it also hurts. Yes. I hurt myself today. Oh, man. Like it is. There's been a lot of funny shit going on recently, I gotta say. Was there anything you wanted? Oh, whoops. Anything you wanted to jump into, sir? Or shall we finally pull the band-aid and get into Ahsoka?
Yeah. Let me get into Ahsoka.
Get into Ahsoka. All right. Don't know how. No, I did end up watching it again this morning to get refreshed. Took
Good
my
man.
usual notes. Oh crap! Trying to move things around. All right. Well, where do we want to start with this? I guess that's the question. Because I mean, from the get-go, we basically get like it is. Like this episode is basically like a member berries for Star Wars. If you want to get real particular, A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I just had to kind of laugh because we did get kind of a with David Tennant bot. Hang on, let me try and get a good shot of it. Like he's basically gone full Grievous. He's gone Grievous bot. This is a page right from George Lucas' Star Wars Theory. Sorry, Hitman. Just trying to trigger you. I mean, in this scene alone, we basically get the full on. They have regressed Sabine because they've made her basically into a character that has not apparently followed up with her training at all. She's forgotten everything that she used to know. Right. You do realize that that's a blade angle training test. Sabers have no blade edge. Yeah, were you saying that earlier in chat, Wookie? But yeah, how lightsabers, you know, they cut no matter what edge you're using. That's why it's usually been meant that people that are actually using them for combat are meant to be force sensitive. People that are Jedi, people that are trained in the Force. Yes, you can have somebody like Han just use it for a quick thing like cutting open a tauntaun.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only purpose for which he's supposed to use that. For combat, that is where the Jedi come in because they have their kind of precognitive abilities and stuff like that. They can also make sure that they are moving in a way where the lightsaber does not hurt them. Sorry, I've been kind of sneezing, so I've been kind of mute myself. And even that, and the thing was, like, originally, if I remember correctly, if I'm not, please correct me if I'm wrong. The staff sabers were very rare because of them being a very deadly lightsaber form. Because, like it was, you were not only dealing with one blade anymore, but you had two, and one at your kind of outside of your periphery a bit. So using them, you had to be particularly skilled with them. Again, like I said, that's why they're usually rare. The first one was, of course, XR Kun. XR Kun was the first one to have the staff saber. And because of XR Kun, it inspired George Lucas to give the staff saber to Darth Maul, thereby really popularizing the staff saber combat. That was the whole thing. Like, these are deadly. These were once deadly weapons you were not meant to take lightly, but they've removed all that. And of course we get, it's like she ends up saying in itself, how can I can't see with this down, how am I going to be able to see the attacks? What does that sound like to you?
With the blast shield down, how am I supposed to fight?
Right. But I mean, the thing is, like, the whole in this scene, Sabine is trying, or not Sabine, Ahsoka is trying to say you have to, like, she has to open her mind and all this stuff. She has to, like, kind of, you know, see it, have a new way of looking at life, or just kind of let it's basically like the Matrix, free your mind. But the thing is, in Rebels, when she was training with Kanan to use the Darksaber, he already got this instructions. She already understood what she had to do. And again, I hate defending Rebels. It's not a great show. The one good episode that felt like Star Wars was the Twin Sons episode, when that was old Ben Kenobi finally
Killing
taking
Maul.
down Darth Maul.
Yeah.
But I will admit it was a good scene between Sabine and Kanan. She broke through a lot of her own, she kind of lowered a lot of her defenses and was expressing what had been troubling her for so long, and especially why she was having difficulty bonding with the Darksaber, why she wasn't really attaching to it, why it wasn't really working for her. And like it is, she's basically, like, Wookiee is even we talked about this, like, all this progression gone, all for Filoni to fillet himself, basically. She's lost all of her character development. She went through her arcs. And that was like the whole thing, especially getting towards the end. She reconciled with her family after they had exiled her initially. She had created a massive weapon, which I think is also a little retarded, considering she would have had to been like almost like 13, 15 or something like that, a young teen. And the Empire is going to put a young kid to develop weapons? I don't know about that. But still, created a deadly weapon that was geared towards basically the whole Mandalorian Beskar armor and made it effective for killing them. She's gone through all of this. They're really going to have to explain what happened between her and Ahsoka when they first were palling around the galaxy to get to this point, which I don't think they're going to do at all.
No.
But, I mean, like I said, I hate saying this, but it's like, it was a good scene. She was opening up to Kanan a lot more than even they had, even though to her, they were kind of like a surrogate family, considering what hers had basically, like I said, exiled her. But, he went through all of it. And that's been part of my question. Like, where the hell is her family? They were alive at the end of Rebels. Her mom, her dad, her brother. No mention of them at all. And I wouldn't think she would bunk off the Lothal, and she didn't seem sad or anything at the end of Rebels with Ezra gone missing. Because when they get to her at the end of Rebels, is after, as far as I know, after Endor. So she had been fighting already through that whole time, through the Galactic Civil War. Fighting with her, having her family by her side and stuff like that. So why she decided to fuck off the Lothal and be some freaking emo chick, I don't know. But this whole bit just makes no sense for the training to me. And like it was, she chose her path. She wanted to be a Mandalorian. She is a Mandalorian. That's her heritage. That's who she is. That's what she takes pride in. Why she went back to her family, got defeated Gar Saxon to get her family out from under his control, basically. And that was with the help of Kanan and Ezra. It just, it's so pointless. It's so sad and boring. Because it's like I joked, it is like Dave Filoni has Akira Toriyama brain. He has forgotten his own lore, his own creative stuff. That, or he's just doing this willfully because it's a sandbox. Anybody can do this. We can just play and do whatever we want now. It's like, fuck off, Dave, you twat.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, and it's like 100%. Just a rip off a New Hope, like, and then I'm not gonna get it because we'll be here another 4 hours. But there are some people that are defending this, that this is an actual thing, and that's why they took this approach. SWT. Oh dear, my mic fell 'cause I'm mad.
Yeah, she's just a skinny girl, not a warrior. Absolutely. And then they mentioned the external world character of the blind swordsman. Yeah. Spook Noor saying, I used to defend the Clone Wars as an over-the-top cartoon. Ahsoka proves me wrong and is easily as over-the-top and dumb as anything in the Clone Wars. Crimson Raptor. Oh my God, Luke vibes. No, but certain things can be done well enough, and so long as you're keeping some of the story elements, I think you're okay. And yeah, it's about inclusivity. Red Hoodwink thing. Does Filoni ever explain anything in his shows? No. He's a shallow as shit writer. He goes for spectacle. He's kind of Zack Snyder in that way. He's very much spectacle, less on substance. Ugh. The only thing I can really say is like, hey, when they don't have people in the volume, some of this stuff doesn't look half bad. I'll give him credit. Fuck him. It looks like shit. This scene was I was scratching my head. It's not only like the last scene, we got Ahsoka teleporting during their little sparring match. It's stupid. It's dumb. Wastes like 3 minutes. Like that.
Yeah, completely just idiotic.
Well, and like I even said in my notes, Sabine showed far more patience and understanding when she trained with Kanan, and it's like she's regressed now.
Yeah.
If frustration led to the dark side, then Obi-Wan certainly was heading to it with an Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's this scene here, and like they try and point out about the Imperial loyalists. Imperial, and I said in my notes, like Imperial loyalists not going to mention also the Inquisitor and the HK droid that attacked Ahsoka. Not going to reiterate the point about how, because they try and trap her in this whole thing of, oh well, you're only just doing this to try and find Ezra Bridger, who disappeared with Thrawn. They're dead now or something like that. With the fact that 2 Dark Jedi, let's call them Dark Jedi, because otherwise they're not Sith as far as I know. They aren't Jedi, but I'm just gonna call them Dark Jedi. The 2 Dark Jedi attacked a New Republic ship, or it was like a prison transport, I guess. They attack this thing and break out a woman who has connections to Thrawn, who potentially knows his location, his whereabouts. So you're telling me they break this chick out of jail? Must mean nothing. Nothing at all. No, nothing. No.
Well, who's working for who is my question.
It feels that way, right?
Are they working for the Dathomirian, or is
nothing to
for
see
them?
here? Oh God, I don't know who's working for who. I don't know who's doing what for who. It's stupid, and I'm also wondering, where the hell is Leia Organa? Why isn't Leia Organa Solo in this meeting? Somebody that should be very much involved in the council in these sort of meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 Dark Jedi and an Inquisitor attack the New Republic. Don't bother to call there one other Jedi that they know, Luke Skywalker. No, not a word, not a peep. Just gonna let him fuck off and build his stupid, crappy academy that's soon gonna fall and destroy.
Mm-hmm.
None of it makes a lick of fucking sense.
Yeah,
It's
nothing.
so stupid. It's like, how do you have these elements in trying to build to basically a galactic threat, but not include some of the main players from the Galactic Civil War? Han, Luke, and Leia? Nothing. Nada. Zippo. Honestly, this whole scene was pointless. Because all it is, too, is Hera trying to do some moral posturing because she tries to shame the Asian-looking senator dude about, well, did you serve? Did you fight in the war? He's like, no, I didn't. He's a senator. He had a job to do. I mean, he might have shown support. He didn't get the chance to say he didn't say. Didn't mean he had to fight, I guess. But she certainly was trying to take a moral high ground with the whole situation. When in fact, I think it would have, she tried to appeal to emotion, tried to take a moral high ground, would have been much better off just reiterating some of the facts. My opinion, might have been more closer to Hera. Because her character wasn't stupid.
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's a New Hope remake.
But
they're continuing to show how retarded and incompetent the New Republic is. This is all roads lead to the sequel trilogy, folks.
Just wait, it gets better.
Always has, always will
when
be.
They say, "Can you excuse us while we talk?"
Yeah, it's
a hologram. Switch to a different channel.
Exactly. That's what everybody's been reiterating. That fact is like, what the hell is the point of? Really? I think this was their one little. It was like their one little excuse to have Hera leave the room. To then, they actually brought in Jason, her son, with Kanan,
who's blown up.
Kanan still doesn't get mentioned because Jason comes up and is like, "Oh, I heard Sabine's trying to become a Jedi. I want to become a Jedi." I mean, they're already trying to mimic A New Hope. So what? I don't want to be. I want to become a Jedi like my father.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Nada. I mean, we get okay. We know Jason has Hera's last name. Doesn't have Kanan's. So, kind of questionable right there. Let's see. And Luke should be with Ahsoka and Sabine if they did it right, but we know how they feel about the OT characters. Yep. They tell Hera to leave the room. Why not just turn off the hologram? That too. Just switch it off. I think there was an ace. Wookiee saying, I think there was a slip to actual Hera when she asked the senator if he was in the war, then drops the ball out. Yeah. Like I said, all she had to do was just smack him around with the facts of what's gone on, and might have gotten somewhere with it. But this whole thing, like I said, this whole scene was pointless because again, she's just appealing to emotion. She wasn't making any proper points. And then she does mention, how my family was, a lot of my family was killed. Again, avoids mentioning Kanan. Only way he's been referenced so far is that damn mural on Lothal.
The whole show doesn't make any sense.
Then basically what's funny though is Sabine goes up against the small cup. The cup wins. I think that's pretty fucking funny.
Story of her life. Then she's like, "I'll be back for you."
Yeah. That was kind of funny. Well, and what's fun, it was the thing is, she was like, Ahsoka's saying I needed Sabine to be herself and let her be a fucking Mandalorian. That's what she is. Well, I should say she's the Disney Mandalorian. These are not real Mandalorians. These will never be true Mandalorians. These are fake Disney Mandalorians, but she could be what she was established as. That's herself. That's who she is. That's who she was established as. So just go with that, Ahsoka. Yes, you can give her some weapons training and stuff like that, but otherwise, I see this fucking pointless. So yeah, Cup 1, Sabine 0. And then they get a transmission from Hera, which, in my book, that council scene they could have ignored entirely and gone right to this. Just cut away from the council scene as soon as she walked in, and then cut. You get to this because this would have cut. That would have trimmed down some time because this episode went longer than it probably should have. But she comes in and delivers. Okay, we don't have the fleet, but in my book, and like it was already mentioned in the chat earlier, this is something I've mentioned in a few comments. I've mentioned on Joker's when he did his review. I mentioned on Rhinos as well, and I think we talked about it when we did the watch party. But I would have figured, so for this, it would have been called like, okay, Hera would have been like, I've got a plan though. Just give me some time, maybe. And then that's when you could cut away to like her maybe packing up the ghost and getting ready to fly out. And then you kind of save this for something. Because we'll get to the next point. Because then they get into a little dogfight here. Between them and between Shin and the Inquisitor and the other two hench goons that they have flying. She ships really, like Wookie was pointing out during our stream, they look like old like bomber fighters and stuff from like World War II and shit. But although I thought hers looked particularly, if I can get to it, like Grievous's ship, because especially like the showing the sides like right there. Let me have that ready. Okay. So well, I guess maybe now that I look at it, not so much, but here's Grievous's ship. Grievous's ship right there. So in comparison, I guess I was wrong. Yeah, not so much. I thought it did initially when I first saw it. And then yeah, we basically have our repeat of A New Hope of them when they were escaping. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. And Shin literally doesn't blink the entire episode. She really does keep that wide-eyed, crazy chick look. I won't lie, it kind of does it for me. But yeah, they're basically recreating more of A New Hope with I don't get this. Sabine basically goes full retard and she can't aim worth a damn. and she ends up bypassing the compressor. But like during this whole dogfight thing, like she has some of the some shitty aim. Basically gets a few hits though. She does take some of the other ships out. And then we have the weird, also like the weird, like Wookie pointed out during our stream, the whole basically mortar shell explosion outside the ships. And this is the thing. they're basically dead in the water. I don't know if we talked about this, but I know certainly I don't know if we talked about this on Wookiee's live watch party. I know Rhino brought this up, was why didn't they just stop the ships in front of this ship and just blasted it to holy hell? That's all they had to do. Just kind of pull it up right in front of it, stop, and let her rip. Which this actually could have been a good moment. Lone Star jammed them so they couldn't see her. But this here would have been a really good moment. All right. So they're kind of dead in space. Now, this could have been the moment where, boom, out of hyperspace comes the ghost. Comes flying in. Hera would kind of tries to, you see the ghost come flying in. And as they get closer, then you start getting the inside and the interior. You see then on I think the ghost had multiple gunner chairs. I don't remember right now. But that's when then Hera comes charging in. She says, all right, boys, get ready on the guns. And then boom, then you cut to Zeb. He's on one of the gunner chairs. And then you cut to Rex. He's on one of the gunner chairs. And then even maybe Agent Callus somewhere in the ship, ready to help and assist in any way possible. That's when they kind of break up the other fighters, go in, and maybe try and dock with Ahsoka's ship. And this is taking from what Rhino and that Star Wars girl talked about on their live stream, going over the show. Because like she mentioned, it seemed weird that there weren't already, like, to build the threat, some Imperial Star Destroyers here defending this thing. Because that would have been something that you would think they would have been doing. But here's the kind of tag off of that even. Right as they dock with the ship and they're starting to get Ahsoka and Sabine off of the wrecked ship possibly, or they just kind of get to tow it, that's when then, again, out of hyperspace, boom, 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 boom. You've got a wave of Imperial Star Destroyers coming into space. You can even then, that's when you start playing that Imperial March theme, get everybody all fucking giddy, but then they're like, oh shit, we gotta go. And then that's them bombing down onto the planet to, then we get the stupid Purgles. But, that could have been a lot better of a moment than what we end up actually going into. Which is, for one, like Wookiee already mentioned, she bypassed the compressor. And then we get Ahsoka also in her goofy spacesuit managing, and here we go, Ahsoka in her spacesuit. But then she tanks and takes out. So she tanks blaster fire from the starships, which you would think would be delivering a greater deal of impact. Now, yes, like Luke deflected blasts from speeder bikes, but I'm guessing that's a little bit different momentum and firepower than what is being delivered from ships. Yeah, being delivered from ships that are meant to take out other ships and capital ships, or at least do damage and stuff like that.
Where's her Ahsoka
manages to deflect it all like it's fucking nothing. Even in Clone Wars, Anakin deflected, I think, some tank fire, but
there was an episode where what was it?
But even he got knocked back from that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Who's the Jedi Master that did that? But this is absolutely asinine. This is a choice. One, where's her air tanks? Two, where's her dear steel magnetic boots? And
where's like the lifeline for her to be attached to the ship?
Where's the gravity? How is she just jumping around?
Space.
Yeah, but
it acts like she has gravity. That's the weird thing. It acts like she has gravity because she just comes boom right back down. No explanation,
Force
no
is
nothing. Not
female.
like she's usually. Well, that's just it. The Force is fucking female, apparently. But then, like it is, then they go for a goofy, like, oh, let's do a little comedic moment, and they had, where is it? Ahsoka floating in front of the ship for a moment. I won't be able to get it so well. Oops. But yeah, she gets her back on the ship, and then they go down to the planet. They encounter the stupid Purgles. And Rhino pointed out something interesting where he does think the Inquisitor is Ezra because of this kind of head turn and kind of a long look that that Inquisitor takes looking at the Purgles. Like there's that kind of connection that there was between Ezra and the Purgles, but that's all kind of theory.
How dare you?
Here, let's see. But yeah, like I said, this is just kind, and then it's this kind of they land, they hide, they manage to hide. They figure out what the space ring is all about. Let's see. I'm just kind of checking my notes really quick, but I've already gone over all of that. Freaking Purgle, Force sensitive Inquisitor, and Shin. That's some of my brother.
I was half expecting Thrawn to be writing it.
Yeah. Like my brother said, for two like Force sensitive people, Shin and the Inquisitor have shitty aim. They really did. Yeah,
like Anakin,
one
12-year-old
hyperspace
Anakin
ring
had
to
a
rule
better,
them
had
all.
better fight. 12-year-old Anakin took a better shot inside the Separatist. What was the? I forget the actual name of the starship. They call it a starship in the Clone Wars, but when he's in there and he takes the shot, he goes. He takes two shots and then he hits with the ion torpedo.
Oh yeah.
And blows it up.
Yeah.
12-year-old had well, he's a chosen one, J Hitman. Yeah, I get it. I know. This episode sucked. It was terrible. It made no sense. It was absolutely just like oh god. It's all I saw somebody posted a meme. It was like it had her, Ahsoka, doing an Air Jordan cartwheel in space, and then it had Leia from Ruin Johnson's Last Jedi floating out in space, or basically doing.
Yeah, that's basically the same thing.
There's so many, and just. And then like just the dynamic, the chemistry, but there's no chemistry between Sabine and Ahsoka. Like Ahsoka's this stoic, like she must have had some type of traumatic experience, dare I say, from Clone Wars to now, because she's just absolutely cut off, stoic, mysterious, like just like it's like you go up to a girl's like, "What's your name?" A girl comes up to you and says, "What's your name?" And it's like, do we all have any names?
No, you all do not have any names.
It's just
no. Anna the Star Wars Girl mentioned this. Apparently, and they like saw some video or article about it. Like apparently, like the whole headpiece that she wears,
dumb,
it makes it difficult for her to like emote. Apparently, supposedly, that's the excuse.
To have emotion, to show emotion.
Yeah, to act basically. Which I think is bullshit.
Oh, hold on. Rosaria Dawson or Ahsoka as the character?
All right, catch you later, Wookie. Thanks for hanging out, dude.
Ahsoka, the character, or Rosaria Dawson, the actor?
Well, the actress. Yeah.
That's
Like,
the
she
dumbest thing. Not Star Wars. I'm sorry, Star Wars Gold. That's not dumb, but like,
Well, no, that's what they played it on the stream, like, or they read the article or something like that. It was something. So is what Rosario Dawson was saying was that headpiece that she has to wear makes it difficult to do certain facial expressions and stuff because of the way it's mounted onto her. Supposedly. It really did. The whole dogfighting in space looked terrible. You are in space going after one ship, surround them from all angles. It's like they aren't even in space. Like they have no concept of it. There are no Star Destroyers left 8 years after Endor. I doubt that. I mean, there are still Star Destroyers even for Thrawn. I mean, he had to do some working to acquire new ones and shit, but there were still some of the remnants left. I mean, that was a huge force. No way could they have gotten rid of everything. And certainly not all of the admirals and captains and stuff like that were just going to give up their commands. I mean, what was Palian going on? We saw him in Mandalorian Season 3. I doubt Palian gave up a Star Destroyer. It's just so stupid. But Filoni is the chosen one, apprentice to Lucas. He knows the lore. He respects the creator. No, he's always been a snake in the grass.
I can't wait for Wednesday to see what else is
what comes next.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing next week we're going to be getting the confrontation. What we've seen in the trailers.
People are legit going around saying that it is Star Killer.
Yeah, because in the credits somewhere around here,
Sam Witwer
is credited as a voice. Yeah, wow, I managed to find it. Sam Witwer, additional voices. We don't know what voices those are, what that's pertaining to, but people have taken this and run with it. And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me that Dave Filoni, the freaking trash panda that he is, the Kmart cowboy, went dumpster diving again into the EU and grabbed Star Killer out to use for this show. It wouldn't surprise me.
But you had to have assumed that they were going to go with this, and maybe there's no parallel, but like his armor in Luthen's shop, like sooner or later they were going to use him.
They were going to work to that, yeah,
absolutely. And
I don't doubt it.
No, I know. I'm just saying I if I had known that, I would have been more mad when I saw it in Luthen's shop than I am now.
Right.
Because I didn't think they were going to be ballsy enough to actually make that move. Now, they haven't done it yet, but I didn't think, I was like, there's no way they could. Because they themselves were the ones that were like on the fence whether or not they were going to keep him as canon or not.
Right.
If it's him,
I'm still kind of putting it to it's going to be Ezra, and they're going to do the cracked helmet reveal.
They're going to do from Rebels.
Yeah, from Rebels with Vader, what Filoni stole from a comic from Dark Horse.
They're going to do the cracked scene. They're going to do the cracked helmet scene from Rebels, and then Ahsoka's going to try this. I don't know. I don't know. Going to be a Mustafar scene. World between worlds type. I don't know.
James voiced Vader, but he wasn't the man under the mask. So I don't know what these people are thinking it's Starkiller. It's just because it's Sam Witwer doing the voice, doing a voice. Don't know what voice it's for. We don't know if he is voicing the Inquisitor because it's not matched with the Merrick character as far as we know. It just says additional voices. That's it. And yeah, they can use so many different things now for voice recording and everything. So who knows? But they're also, I guess, keeping a tight lid on the situation and not revealing who it is yet. But yeah. Ugh. I mean, like I said, other like the Ahsoka shit. Yeah, her flipping around on the spaceship was dumb as hell. Made no sense.
She only did it because she's force sensitive, or the force is female. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's
agreed.
It's up there with the most egregious thing I've ever seen within this whole, from Book of Mando to now. Like it's almost worse. But what's worse, the Power Ranger bots? The what do we call them? The
Scooter Rangers.
Bots? Yeah, the Scooter Rangers, or this. Her getting her guts her guts worked on in the tattoo parlor, or this scene.
I mean, that at least had an explanation as to why she got worked on for getting her guts filled with roboid parts. I mean, we didn't even get that for Sabine. It's called, oh hey, here's a patch, you're healed.
Please say Ahsoka. Please say Ahsoka.
Yeah, it's gonna be Ahsoka probably.
I don't. I just. Yeah, I would take that scene all day, because one, as atrocious as that scene was, it provided a lot of funny gifts, and two, like there was context behind it, and it was like, oh, okay, well, this is actually why we've somehow removed your guts, which kind of far fetched. I don't know how medically you could do that.
A deadly stomach wound that she took. So,
I mean, it's still as far fetched as Ahsoka doing Dr. J. Air Jordan cartwheels in space, but at least I don't know. I could get behind that, I guess.
Lightsabers are more ridiculous now, thanks to Disney, than the Vespas in Book of Boba Fett. He's right. You're right, Red Hoodwink. You're absolutely right.
Remove the moving in space and just take. Let's just look at the fact that she deflected blaster fire from a spacecraft. From a starship. Like, even OG said that she should be about 52 light years knocked back.
Right.
There should have, like, well, Jay Hitman Starkiller.
Team Ahsoka's blasting off again.
I was like, well, Jay Hitman Starkiller brought down a Star Destroyer when he was on the, like, again, video game.
Yeah, video game. And video game doesn't count. That was already part of the hierarchy. The video games didn't count for a lot of canon. Yes, they had their stories, but that was usually where.
But here's the thing, though. How do you defend, or how do we defend our argument? Because I mean, they could be right. Like Starkiller, he did bring down an Imperial Star Destroyer, a Venator class Star Destroyer, using the Force, not the Chosen One. He must have been at least, I mean, if Star Wars theory is saying Anakin was like 9, Starkiller must have been at least 15, because I don't remember Anakin ever bringing down a Venator Star class destroyer. Or a Venator class Star Destroyer.
No. Anakin was the freaking Chosen One.
It's just so stupid. Like, I don't think a lightsaber, the blade itself can break. I don't think it can shatter or break, but come on. Blaster fire from a starship.
Yeah,
and you just deflect it like it's coming out of an E11 blaster.
Right.
And not even
she's more the Chosen One than Anakin is at this point.
But here's the thing. It was, I'm so tired of these. It's just when one character fails, they create another one to take the place. It's literally the rule of 2 in reverse.
Yeah, kind of.
I guess a messed up kind of way, but like it's like there wasn't even. Then she got hit with the blaster fire and didn't even phase her.
No.
Like if she had the strongest Durasteel magnetic boots, you would and were physically stuck to that ship, right?
Right.
Like then you could maybe make some type of argument to it, right? She didn't even have them. She was literally wearing Air Jordan 3s and a blue suit, man, with no air tank. Literally, there was no air. There, did you see it? Did you see a respirator, or it would have been an respirator? Did you see any type of air tank, air supply on that suit? No, you didn't. All you saw was the stupid suit, the shoes, and her headpiece.
Yep.
And a mask.
Hi there, Mark. He says we need
Why am
players
I
for
defending
Battlefront
Rebels?
1.
Why don't
15 PC save this game, guys? Please. Huh.
Please tell me
Sorry.
why I sit here and defend Rebels over this. Like I sent this to
That's what I
Script,
keep saying.
Like I need to take a shower because I feel dirty. I'm defending one crap show against an atrociously worse crap show.
Right? How I feel.
I'm watching. I'm going to get off this show and I'm watching Revenge of the Sith tonight or Empire Strikes Back.
If the shoes were magnetic, she would have stuck to the fighter flying by her, which would have been funny as that would have been funny as hell. That would have been pretty fucking funny. I mean, especially to be like such a strong magnetic force on her boots, the way she was jumping around, anyways. Yeah, she probably would have attached to one of the ships randomly.
But she didn't even have any of that.
I mean,
you tell me
all I
she
can
used
say
the
is
Force?
I think so because when Sabine angled the wing, she kind of touched down and attached to the ship and then began walking back in.
Nah,
but
man.
I still think a lot of it's
watch the scene again. There was zero magnetic boots. There was zero.
I'm not against you there, Red Hoodwink, but like I think I've said this on here, but like Rebels definitely seemed like a show where he was being tard wrangled, so he was not in full control like he is. I know he's the tard. That's what I'm saying is that there was, because that was still early in the Disney acquisition of Lucasfilm. I'm guessing that they might have had some extra people that were keeping an eye on some of these things, so they might. I'm probably headcanoning this at this point, that somebody was kind of tard wrangling him a bit to kind of keep that show on a somewhat sane course. I don't know, but I mean, there has to be some explanation for it, other than like Clone Wars to a degree was the Lucasfilm, so that was in-house with that, and that was where he was especially. I mean, he still got away with a lot of bullshit, but like it was again tard wrangled, because we are seeing him completely unleashed. This is Filoni unleashed. And I mean, what's funny is like Ahsoka was basically equating the Force to like Sabine becoming like her going Super Saiyan. She just needs to unlock it through emotional triggering or something. Like that's gonna be her.
Yeah.
Thing. Needs that right emotional like snap, and suddenly she's gonna uber power into Super Saiyan Jedi Force user thing.
Yeah.
Why must everything be so sad and boring?
Can't wait till next week. So pumped. Let's
so
not
pumped.
go.
Let's go.
Let's so not go.
Please no. Oh.
0 out of 10 recommend this show.
100%. Force triggering is a new Force ability now. Prepare another 9 out of 10 rating from Star Wars Theory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the show is kind of lame, but I give it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, the episode was kind of
No, he's gonna be like, well, actually, guys,
like that.
He's gonna be
but,
like,
yeah, it was totally a 9 out of 10 episode.
What he's gonna say is, this is actually one of the greatest episodes ever, because this is exactly what George talked about 15 years ago.
Yeah,
and this has always been a part of the original trilogy.
This is the most Star Wars has ever been since Disney took over.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is Star Wars. He's gonna be like, this is a Star Wars we deserve.
Oh yeah, wasn't that what Skirmitar sent this to me? hate to go back on the freaking Star Wars theory here, but he did say Ahsoka Episode 3 is the most George Lucas Star Wars we've had since Disney bought Star Wars. If you don't understand why, watch my breakdown, but essentially the explanation of the Force and how it resides in everyone is something George has said off screen for decades. Also, Ahsoka in space was in the Clone Wars twice and once in Rebels. Also, Shin Batty. I don't know what the hell that's all about, but yeah. So yeah, the most Star Wars it's been.
I can't get on him again because I'm going to be here for another 3 hours. So
sorry, I just had to.
No.
Thank you for sending that to me last week.
I saw that, and I saw Scimitar. He posted that, and I refused to. Well, not refused. I just.
But I mean, that led into then what we talked about at the beginning of the show with his description of the Force and OG using his own words against him, which was pretty fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Every episode was a 9 out of 10, but the series is a 6 out of 10. Even that's being generous.
Yeah.
Mock saying, I want Kyle Katarn back somehow. I'm fine with Kyle being where he's at.
Yeah.
Which is in Legends, not being
Andor.
picked up by Disney. Shut up.
He's an Andor.
Shut up.
You missed that?
I will destroy you. Red Hoodwink saying, Hale, say that while wiping away tears from his eye. Crimson Raptor quote: if you don't understand why, watch my breakdown where I shill for Filoni because Disney told me to. Well, here's to next week. Here's to next Wednesday when I get to watch it with Wookiee and Duke Devil 95. Bradley, we'll be doing the live stream next week on Wookiee's channel. It'll be a lot of fun, I'm sure. So pumped. Let's go. Yeah, I'll be. I think this is a good time to close it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, no shenanigans. Maybe we'll do it Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot. I forgot I had an appointment tomorrow, so I'm gonna shoot.
It's all good. So we'll try and maybe.
I think Wednesday worked out fine.
That worked out great. So Wednesday.
We'll see how it goes. I may get on tomorrow, depending on how if I can get my appointment done soon enough.
We'll see.
Either or, yeah.
So catch us for shenanigans either Sunday or Wednesday. And Wednesday, Thursday, I will be doing some early morning gaming streams, Mountain Time, my time. Thank you, Crimson Raptor, much appreciated, sir. And yeah, I'll be like I said, Wookiee. We do our nerds only nerds. We'll be doing the watch party for Ahsoka. Catch that. And I usually pop in on weekend pregame on Static 2020's channel. I've been trying to harass Rhino. I've been trying to get on one of those Thursday nights since he does it kind of early now because him and that Star Wars girl have been reviewing. So I got to harass him a little more. But otherwise, that's all from me. I don't know if you've got anything you want to throw out there, Hitman.
Just keep close either tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay.
And now that I have my Steam, I may have to.
Yeah, may have to get in on some more things.
Fractured helped me go over to Steam since KOTOR crashed. So
hey, thank you, Red Hoodwink, for being here. Much appreciate it. And also thanks to you, Crimson Raptor, Mock for jumping in. Wookiee, as always, as he hung out for as long as he had. Thank you very much, sir. We of course had Jason in earlier, Fook Norris. Spartacus was in here as well. Static was hanging around for a short period. Duke Devil hung out while he was trying to edit his Ahsoka chapter 3 review. Go over to Duke Devil if you haven't. Give him a sub. He does some great reviews. He's a lawyer, but he's one of the good ones.
One of the good ones.
But yeah, thank you all so much for being here, and hopefully you've hit that smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. Please do. Who would have thought we've almost made it to 150 subscribers? I donate 500 euro. Can you make your subs join Battlefront 1? I can't make anybody do anything. And I don't even have Battlefront 1 2015 version myself, so sorry. But yeah, thank you all so much. This is totally cool and we're gonna be, once this year's over, we'll be going into 2 years, which will be cool when we hit that milestone.
Time flies, brother. Time flies.
Right?
I had no idea we were gonna make it to 80, but here's to 160.
We've made it to 80 episodes. This has been crazy. Fun ride, I gotta say. So pumped. Let's keep going. So with that, good night, everybody. Y'all have a good one. Enjoy our little end thing here. Hang on. Toodles.
What is thy bidding, my master?
Yeah, I should have known from the very beginning. From what you said. Yeah, when the mega powers were formed. Yeah, what you were out for from the very beginning. Yeah, you were after what was mine. I remember what you said.
You can destroy the Emperor. Join me. Together, we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
Yeah, that one was rough. Those words right there. Yeah, I got stuck, yeah, but I swallowed it anyway. Didn't like the taste, but I swallowed it anyway, yeah. But I remember the time when there was a conquistador out of the ring. The one that's so jealous that he can't stand it, yeah. Yeah, you came in there with your poses, yeah, but you made a big idiot out of yourself, yeah. And speaking of idiot things, what about that stupid idea? Did you forget that one? Think back. That right there sealed your fate. Yeah, that put the madness over the edge. But I'll tell you what felt even better, yeah, was in the dressing room, in the first aid room. Me being unselfish, yeah, said go ahead, do the thing, yeah. You won't steal my thunder, no. When you take a look at the madness's eyes, all you're gonna see is complete and utter rage!